Welcome to TCH Live Austin. I'm Kyle Frisbee. I'm joined here by Just James, a regular on the stream. Great to be here with you and have you back here in the booth.
Yes, I'm very excited to be here.
Absolutely. So we got 2-5 action for you. As typical, we'll start with a $10 bomb pot. Everybody antes up $10. Sees two flops of Omaha. Got a great lineup for you. We see Mosquito Josh, Kevin Y, also a regular on the stream, and we'll get to know the players as we see them play some pots.
Yes, I think I've played with most of these players before. There's a couple faces I don't recognize. I've only played with Steady Eddie once. I haven't played with Manny, but all the rest of the players I'm fairly familiar with. So I'm looking forward to see how they play.
Yeah, absolutely. You get to see the ins and outs here, and you know, maybe call out a little tendency here or there. So we're off to a flop. We'll get the players' cards loaded here momentarily. Do have to scan them into the table, so.
Bomb pots are by far my favorite thing to play on stream, and I don't get to see how people play bomb pots often. So it'll be interesting to see what everyone does.
Yeah, we got a set here for Steady Eddie on the top board with a pair of nines. And Mosquito Josh also with a set, the lesser variety of sevens on the top board.
Looks like Barber's got a 6 on bottom, not much else.
Steady Eddie actually has a set on top and trips on the bottom, in fact. So some good equity on both boards, and a set of 10s here for Doug. So he has actually flopped a full house, has the bottom board pretty locked up, assuming no overcards.
Yeah, and I want to say I really like Doug's play here. Just a call with top set. You're not very vulnerable, so I like that he's like trying to get other people to come into the pot because he doesn't really have. He does have an open ender on top, but a lot of times it's not going to be good, of course, in PLO by the river.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think a lot of times people get a little overzealous and start bombing away when they flop big like that, but as you said, they kind of scare some of the extra money out of the pot.
Yeah, exactly. This way, at least Doug's going to win something instead of just chopping.
Steady Eddie fills up on the top now. Queens full of nines. So it looks like Doug and Steady Eddie have pretty strong holds on this hand. Mosquito with a full house, but not the best.
Yeah, I think Mosquito Josh is probably going to lose a lot of money here, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
pretty
don't
tough.
see him getting away from second boat here.
And Mosquito even has a queen in his hand, so he even blocks the higher boats. So tough spot for him.
Yeah, he's only losing to queen 9 as of right now. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what his opponent has. Yeah, blockers lose a lot of value in bomb pots, given how many cards are at play.
Yeah, and again here I like Doug just calling. He's like making sure he keeps it multi-way since he has a lock on that bottom board. Essentially a lock.
Yeah, it probably doesn't love the king on the turn, but still has to feel pretty good about his hand.
Yeah,
for sure.
And he also has like every now and then if a 6 or jack comes on the river up top, he might be good if both this player just has like a 6 each on bottom.
Yeah.
So it's always nice to have something to fall back on in these double board bomb pots.
Safe river for Doug on the bottom. He has it locked up, and Steady Eddie with the nuts on the top. So I imagine we'll be getting this capped here, and unfortunately Mosquito's the odd man out with his full house.
I'm interested to see what Doug does here with the boat, because I think you can raise, and I think you can just call and try to get the extra green. Looks like he does decide to raise. And Mosquito Josh probably does not love his spot here. I mean, I'd be really frustrated. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I would agree. This is a gross one, especially first hand.
Yeah.
You hate to lose a big one right off the bat, but I guess we'll see if Mosquito did make the call. So 3K right out the gate, first bomb pot. Steady Eddie and Doug, the beneficiaries. Saw we also have JWin in the 9 seat. Great to have JWin with us.
JWin is a very good player. I play with him quite a bit. He's someone who I definitely don't like to see at the table because he's really tough to play against.
Yeah. He's one of those, if you get your table assignment and he's a seat or two to your left, you wince a little bit.
For sure. He's very, very aggressive, and no one likes playing against an aggressive opponent like tier one.
Yeah. Controlled aggression, for sure.
Yeah, he doesn't spaz.
So I misspoke. Actually, 4,500 in the middle for this pot.
Yeah, this was a huge pot to start off the night.
Yeah.
I'd say. Sometimes the stream goes, we don't even see $4,000 pots.
It's true.
So.
Yeah, we had some 9Ks last week, but we had the we had $40, $80 straddle on a good portion of the night. So I don't know if it'll be as wild today, but definitely starting off with a big one there.
We'll see. I mean, I could see some big pots here, especially between like JWin, Kevin, and Doug. They definitely like are comfortable getting the money in. So
for sure.
And they're all right next to each other too, so that'll hopefully increase the action a little bit for everybody.
Yeah, it's kind of murderer's row right there in the 7, 8, and 9.
2 and 5, please.
So
I
we're
wonder
on
if
to
they're
our.
gonna put the 10 on tonight.
Yeah, I'd imagine 10 will be on a decent amount. Not this hand just yet, but you'll probably see 10 and 20 with fair frequency. So on to No Limit Hold'em.
1930 or 1970.
Hang on, okay.
You can see the players' stack sizes and profit loss at the bottom of your screen throughout the night.
Are you guys really pausing the game?
So just James, this is your first time in the booth. Let's get a little of your poker background. How did you begin playing?
Yeah, for sure. So my grandma, when I was very young, I come from a family of gamblers, unfortunately, I guess. And my grandma taught me when I was like 3, 4 years old. She taught me 5-card draw, penny ante poker. And for some reason, when I was a kid, I just kind of fell in love with the game. And I started playing online for play money. Started playing Texas Hold'em when I was like 4 or 5 years old. And then once I hit like 9, I actually started playing free rolls. Looks like we had an all-in here.
Yeah, we had an all-in 9-7 versus a flush draw, and 9-7 is going to hold.
Wow.
So JR gets the double.
Poor Mosquito Josh losing back.
Yeah, Mosquito.
Yeah.
Mosquito not off to the greatest start, but if you've played with Mosquito or if you know Mosquito, we know he can definitely spin it up from here quickly.
For sure. He's definitely a player who's not afraid to get the money in, too.
Yeah,
so.
no doubt. Usually VPIP's pretty high.
Yeah. It's very scary when you play against someone who is not afraid to get the money in at any point, especially pre-flop, because it's so high variance, so many cards to come, you just don't really know where you're at.
So your grandmother taught you, you started playing some free rolls, had some success, and just kind of went from there?
Yeah, I won a couple free rolls back in the day on Poker Stars and Full Tilt, and I guess I'm admitting to a crime. I played online when I was a kid, and I just kind of spun it up a little bit. Like
Nice.
10 cent, 25 cent. I just played poker my whole life, essentially. I have a very strong passion for the game.
That's cool. Yeah, you have a similar story to our friend Uncle T that's in the booth from time to time, and he was taught by his grandfather growing up. So yeah, somewhat similar story there.
It's like Doug raising up to 25 with ace-jack offsuit. Today with queens, definitely putting a 3-bet in.
First premium of the night, pocket queens for Steady Eddie.
I saw Mosquito Josh called with 8-6. I honestly wouldn't be surprised. Yep, Mosquito Josh put the call in here.
Does
Doug
have
folded
position.
ace-jack. That's a little surprising.
Yeah, Doug, you'll see him fold to a 3-bet with, those, king jack, ace jack type hands, it seems, but which, not to give away too much, but I tend to do myself as well.
I agree with it. I'm just surprised to see it on stream. Especially when on stream, you generally play a little looser. You want to try to drive some action. So. It's a good thing you did fold ace-jack here. He probably would have lost a lot of money.
That's true. He's probably thinking, man, I should have hung on to that, but it doesn't know. He would have been stepping right into it.
Another thing, too, is like Steady Eddie being in the big blind, right? I played with him a few times, and he's definitely a tighter player pre-flop, I'd say. And when he puts in a 3-bet when he could have just closed the action by calling in the big blind. I think that he is generally going to have a very good hand.
Right.
So
Agreed.
he did, of course.
So we got the $20 straddle on second hand, or third hand of No Limit.
Yeah, Doug will definitely always put the straddle on, I think. whenever
Yeah, I
it's his
think,
opportunity.
Doug wants to play big.
He loves playing big. He's a run at once guy too. Loves just playing the big high variance spots.
9 full. 5, 20, 20 to bump. 1 full, 2 full,
Also has been called a set miner.
3 full.
Doug's been called a set miner?
Yeah. No offense, Doug. No, no, I think he plays a very balanced game. I have a
Yeah.
lot of respect for the way he plays.
So a question for you. When you know a player is running at once, do you tend to play less aggressively because you're worried about getting it in and like losing?
That's a great question. I don't change how I play at all.
Good.
Just because, as I assume you know from your deep poker analysis, so we discussed that. We'll get in deep into some poker theory and stuff as we go, but it simply reduces the variance. It doesn't reduce the outcome, so I don't let that alter my play. But what about you?
I always run twice. It doesn't affect me whether someone runs once or twice. I'm just the same as
Yeah.
you. I'm debating on whether I want to start running it once only because I do think there are a lot of players out there who are afraid of getting money in, and I think that can definitely work to your advantage.
Yeah, I see what you.
People
I see what
might
you're
fold
saying.
a little more frequently.
Yeah, if
too.
somebody's not going to semi-bluff a flush draw is likely if they don't think they're going to be able to get a chance to get there twice.
Yeah, exactly. And I have been in lots of spots with hands where I'm bluffing and someone asks me, are you going to run it twice? And I have to say yes because I always run it twice. And
Yeah.
like, I don't want to say like no and then like ask if we can run twice anyways. But
Yeah.
I do think that people are definitely more likely to call you if you say yeah we'll run it twice.
Yeah, I think we have similar philosophies on that. I'm a run it twice guy if everybody agrees, which is, I don't know, maybe 80, 90% of the time people want to run it twice.
I agree with that.
But once is fine.
8 check.
Queen high flop here with Mosquito Josh with the 8-9 off and King 10 off. Doug turns an open ender to Broadway.
I think actually like betting or checking here is fine. I think betting's probably preferred because you get A-side folds. Also, Mosquito Josh calls, of course, with a worse straight here, so that's good. Interesting to see if Doug barrels the king. I personally prefer checking here. You start losing to hands like King Jack, King Queen.
And you give a player that missed the way Mosquito has here a chance to bluff off another barrel that you can simply just shrug call.
If I had the 10 of spades here, I think it'd be a little more likely to bet just because it's less likely they have a missed flush draw, potentially.
8, pretty much.
So as played, Doug puts 100 in, quick fold from Mosquito, and we're on to the next one. Doug and Steady Eddie, the early winners, up about 500 or so each.
You're out there too far.
Mosquito with a bit of a cooler in the first bomb pot. He's going to be working his way back from the red here. Long way to go. We'll be with you until 10 o'clock Central. So feel free to hop in the chat, ask any questions you may have.
Yeah, see what's going on in the chat.
Thanks, River Rat, for the love from Rio Grande Valley. Have our Rio Grande Valley location of Texas Card House, as well as Dallas and Houston.
I've never been down there. Have you been down there?
I have not. I've been in the area before I knew we had a room there, but next time I'm down there for other recreational activities, I'll try to stop in.
Yeah, I met a guy who said it's pretty good there. He was telling me there was a private game that was running. It might have been PLO. I can't remember. This was like 6 months ago, 12 months ago. It was pretty good. So it seems like there might be some good action down there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to visit that. I'd like to visit our Las Colinas location as well. It's kind of the, I think, premier location as far as amenities, beautiful restaurant and waiting area and such. So
it is the best place I've played poker ever in my life.
Yeah,
It is.
beautiful.
It's a super clean room. The food's amazing. The action's really good. They always have 2-5 around the clock. So
Small blind.
Fortunately, we'll have a location that is of similar or even maybe higher quality here in Austin in the next couple of months. We'll be moving right up the street, so
Now go.
looking forward to that.
yes, I'm very much looking forward to that. I didn't know it was going to be that big actually until just
Yes,
until just a few days
be
ago.
several times bigger than the current location, so that's exciting.
See, so we have the 20 on this hand, I think, or maybe the 40
I think we had
on.
40
Wow, we got the
from
40 on.
Mosquito.
Wow, that is. Manny opening up King 9 off here. I think opening King 9 here is just slightly too loose, maybe. If you're in the cutoff without straddles, I think it's fine. But you're essentially opening with 5 players behind you. So as you can see here, Kevin just has King Queen. Now Manny's in really rough shape here.
Yeah.
So Mosquito calling 10-4 suited, definitely fine, I think, given the price he's getting.
If he flops big, he can have the pretty disguise holding. Unfortunately, ace-high flop here. Everybody essentially bricks. Manny does have the king of hearts.
And I think if I'm Manny, I prefer betting here on the flop.
Yeah, I
have
think
the
you
king
got to
of
go ahead
hearts.
and fire and represent the ace. Give yourself a chance to go ahead and win.
Yeah, and this is a good example too. In this turn, he turned a gut shot. That is worth something. I mean, it's not. It doesn't seem like a lot, but you're able to fire again, and he definitely could have gotten some folds through here probably. Mosquito might have called, but and he did turn a flush draw. Mosquito just has a flush draw, so that'll be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I like this play by Kevin. The double flush draw blockers. It's unlikely that your opponents will have flush draws that continue, of course. And then also when a club or heart comes on the river, you can barrel and represent the flush. So I like this play by him. And I love this play by Mosquito Josh. Just ripping it in and hoping.
370.
And Kevin's definitely can make some moves. I've played with them, and you know, I think I like this play by Mosquito.
Especially with the button. Yeah, I think the rip is very solid here.
For sure. Out of
And-
position, I mean, if you make a flush on the river, like, it's kind of tough to get paid.
Yeah, it's
So
going to be
I
an
like
obvious backdoor, most likely.
Yeah, Kevin doing some posturing here. Obviously, I don't think he's going to call. Oh my
He
God,
calls.
he makes the call.
Okay.
Wow, that is
Well,
that is a
that's
sick call.
that's one thing you'll find, just James, is sometimes I'm like, well, we know what's going to happen here. It's a fold, and then the person calls. So,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I guess Kevin thinks that Mosquito Josh is bluffing too much.
Kevin actually ahead here with just king high, and Mosquito gets there on the first board.
Gets there on both.
On both. Wow.
Oh.
Scoop.
Good read by Kevin, but well, actually, Kevin did. I think I did hear him say, "He's like, I know you're ahead, but I'm going to call anyway." So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow. Nice nice spot there for Mosquito, and he's right back in business now. With a smile, as always. Mosquito, one of the most fun people to play with. You can see his picture there with his huge stack of chips.
That is a huge stack of chips.
That is a huge stack, yeah.
Seen that
Known
picture a
for
couple
his spiral stacking at times, which
times. Oh, I've not seen that.
haven't seen the spiral stacks.
No,
yeah.
I haven't seen it.
When he really gets on a roll, you'll get the spiral.
All right.
It's going to have to win a couple more of those.
Just to say hi to my wife at home. She said hi to me in the chat. Thank you. She's supporting me.
Hello, Emily. Yeah,
See,
your
I gotta
husband
say my-
even mentioned your support when we chatted for the first time, so it's a real deal.
Yeah,
James
she really
appreciates
supports me
it.
a lot.
Yeah.
She always watches the stream, and you know she supports what I do, and
That's
I
awesome.
can't ask for anything more. You know?
We won't get overly into people's personal lives here, but how long have y'all been married?
We're actually technically not married yet. We're engaged.
Oh, okay, engaged.
But,
Okay,
we've
cool.
Been together for about 3 years.
Oh, cool.
Going on 3 years. We have
Nice.
a kid together.
That's awesome.
JWin here with queens.
From the small blind,
This is for sure going to get 4-bet. I don't see JWin flatting queens.
9 raise, 225.
JWin with the cool side bet, side of his hand.
I've started doing that. Someone commented it the other day. when I was playing, and they were like, "Oh, I just can't be like the cool kids."
Yeah, yeah.
Just, like, flick it in with the wrist. And Barber here, a lot of people don't know when. Well, what were we at? Is this 2-5, 10-20? Okay, this Barber's probably just gonna flat here. Oh, he folds.
He lets it go.
All right. You know, that's just like this might be a good example of JWin's a very aggressive player. You don't. He's a good player, and you don't want to play marginal hands.
Yeah, he would have been in position that have made me lean a little more toward a call, which I think you were probably alluding to. But
he was in position actually, because JWin was in the small ball.
Yeah, yeah. So Barber was, because he was in position. I think calling with a suited connector is reasonable. But
For sure. What I was going to say is that a lot of people don't know that if you're like 200 big blinds deep, you can actually 4-bet 7-6 suited sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
That is a higher stakes quality. You will not see that happen in a 1-2 game for sure. But
for sure not.
Yeah.
You don't even see it really in the higher stakes.
Yeah.
You got to be playing online higher stakes. But, you know, as you get deeper, you generally want to have more, we call it board coverage, because, like, you're going to play more streets, so you want to make sure your hand can, you want to make sure your entire range of hands can hit the board in some way, because you don't want someone to just be able to bet on a certain board texture. You just have to fold all the time. So.
Yeah, we've certainly played against the players where I call it the face-up player, where you know their 3-betting range is so narrow that basically their hand just face up, and so you can call with a wider range because, you know, essentially you can see their cards.
Yeah, exactly. You know what they have.
Yeah.
So you can just wait to hit the flop hard, and then
and they're going to stack off because they finally got a good hand.
For sure. Yeah.
A lot of diamonds here. JR with the best diamond. Kevin Y, King Queen suited.
Boy, I'd love to see 3 diamonds on this flop.
3 diamonds would be very interesting.
It's definitely happened before.
Everybody with around a third of the equity.
There was one stream that happened here one time. I think I saw it was like 4 players made flushes, like on a 3 flush.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like a 4-way flush. It was insane. Unfortunately, not much here for. Oh wait, no. Kevin makes pair to kings. Okay.
Pair king, strong kicker. Nobody else with much. Gutter for Steady Eddie.
Yeah, and I think JR and Steady are just going to let this go. JR calling. I am surprised. I mean, I'm in for some surprises tonight, clearly. I don't.
You're going to find out as we go along. There's a diamond.
He turns a wheel.
A little too late, but yeah,
Well,
wheel
turns
possibility.
A wheel draw. Yeah.
Needs a 5.
If you're Kevin, you definitely got to continue firing. Get value from all those draws.
Yeah, pretty wet board. 2 hearts, connected board,
And I
10
like
and king.
here. I like Kevin's size.
I think this has to go into the muck now, but
I mean,
our predictions have been
yeah, I mean, like
off
if you're gonna call
so
ace
far.
2 and you turn a 4,
And you-
I mean,
yeah, I mean-
do you want to fold to a 4? I mean, I would guess not, but it looks like he's gonna let it
there
go.
it goes.
So.
Yeah.
All right.
Kevin will win a nice medium-sized pot there.
Thank you very much, sir.
On the bomb pot, if you get all kings.
So what's your typical stakes you like to play, like as far as bread and butter?
2-5 in Texas, as everyone knows. 2-5 plays. 2-5 in Texas is not 2-5 in Vegas. It's very
Yeah,
different.
it's like 10-20 in Vegas.
Yeah, exactly.
A ballpark.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like between 5-10 and 10-20.
Yeah.
I'll play 5-10. I'll play 10-25 every now and then.
Yeah.
Up in Las Colinas, they had a 25-50 that went. I played that. Unfortunately, did not run good in that game.
Ooh,
But
yeah.
I lost 10,000 I think that day. But
Yeah, that's that pitter-patter money makes your heart
for
go.
sure, that was my
Yeah.
biggest loss ever in one day. That hurt. It was still fun. But bread and butter for sure. 2-5.
2-5, yeah.
2-5. Sometimes 1-3. 2-5. 5-10.
Yeah, 5-10-25 is the biggest I've played, but it also had $100 straddle on us a decent amount
yeah.
of the time, so it was kind of wild.
Yeah, I played in games like that, and then like I play for like an orbit, and then I realize I'm like way over my head.
Yeah,
I need to like
that-
just get out. Yeah, it's like
Yeah. Excuse me for
You're-
the
yeah.
cough there, but yeah, I played. I actually doubled up, and then people started straddling to 100, and I was like,
They
I'm
do
way
that
over
for
my
some
head.
reason.
So
Yeah.
I played a respectable amount of time longer
Yeah.
and racked up.
For sure, that's the
That
way to
was-
do it. I like to play 1 or 2 more orbits, put the straddle on, maybe the double
Yep.
straddle, and then leave. You know. No one likes a hit and runner, and
No, I definitely
definitely
don't do
want to do that.
that. Although I've seen some amazing ones. Someone take they don't even stack the pot; they just put it straight into the rack and get up. I saw that the other day in like a 4-way all-in. I was like, I don't think they've ever heard of the gentleman's rule
Right.
of not hitting and running, but
7 bet, 100.
hey, they had the money. Mosquito here with a pair of 5s is not going to call Kevin. Kevin's going to win with the worst hand here. Is a board that connects with his range.
Yeah, and as we talked about, Mosquito Josh, he plays a lot of hands. So when Mosquito Josh is only continuing with a king or an ace, but most of his hands that he's playing don't contain a king or an ace, right? So you can just bet all your range, Kevin.
Straddle 10.
And it worked, obviously.
You played with Wolfgang in Las Colinas?
I have not played with Wolfgang
No?
in Las Colinas. Does
I
he
think
play
he's a
2-5
regular there.
mostly? I don't know.
I believe so.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen him. I've been there 3 times. I haven't seen him.
Folks listening, Wolfgang, one of the biggest poker vloggers, regular at TCH.
Mm-hmm.
7 full. 8 raise. 20.
I'm always getting his like reels and stuff online.
Yeah,
Wolfgang.
yeah. Ace.
He makes interesting content.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
JWin with ace 6 here. Interesting.
9 raise, 110.
Makes it 110. This is what I'm saying when I say JWin is a very aggressive player, and he's not a bad player by any means post flop. So we'll see. I imagine Doug's gonna let it go. Yeah.
Everyone folding to JWin's raises so far. One time with queens, one time with ace-6 offsuited, so playing a balanced range.
I was very interested. It was very interesting to see JWin sizing there too. I just realized he made it. I think 4.5 times Doug's open, which is a very large size. Typically, you go for 3, anywhere between 2.5 to 3.5, depending on the exact position. It's a little surprising. Maybe he does that with maybe JWin likes to do that with his very good hands and his not so good hands, like his 6 offsuit. So.
I'll give him that one.
Got another bomb pot coming up here. I gotta say, yeah, I think I said bomb pots are my favorite thing to look at and analyze. So.
Yeah, I really enjoy bomb pots. Not attracted to bomb pots only tables, but I'm glad. I like to have them in the no limit game. Kind of tends to sort of loosen things up, and people, especially non-pros, make more mistakes in
For
bomb
sure.
pots than anything else. So
Well, no one really knows how to play bomb pot. Let's be real.
Right,
No,
yeah,
like
yeah.
some of us like to think we know how to play, but
yeah,
the goal is just to be a little less worse than everybody else, right? So.
yeah.
4 check.
So
5 check. 7
had
check.
3-way action for 4,500 in our first one, and
King's ace.
3 bet, 60.
No one really has much of anything. Mosquito Josh has 2 pair, but it looks like that's no good. Doug has a wrap up top with no diamonds.
5 fold.
And then
no sets.
7 fold.
Slightly unusual.
Manny folded the best equity hand up top, not the best hand now, but he folded a flush draw with a 6-5.
3 players.
So Doug's hand, he doesn't know it, but it's actually a favorite up top. He has so many cards to make it straight.
Yeah, good equity on both boards, actually.
Oh, he does. You're right. And a pair of 10s has good equity. Interesting. Okay, so Doug makes straight. He hits the nut straight up top. Interesting to see if he bets or checks this. I personally like checking. I don't think. Oh, Doug does have 10s and 3s.
No scoop for Doug here, but so JR has the best hand on the bottom. Doug with his straight still good. Could be concerned about being quartered. Got to be careful with straights and bomb pots.
Yeah,
But-
I see that JR actually made a wheel. I didn't see it on the turn. I don't know if you noticed.
Oh, he did make a
He
wheel,
made a
yeah.
wheel, yeah. So I like JR's check on the turn. And bet call, and I imagine Mosquito Josh is gonna have to let this go. Yeah. Top it up.
So we'll chop it up. 75 bucks profit for each player.
And we got the wheel on
Doug
the
and JR.
straight to the 5 on the bottom. It's going to be a chop.
No one ever went broke taking a small profit.
Bomb pots are brutal because it seems to get so many small profits, but I feel like you just get stacked a lot.
Yeah.
Like it feels like you rarely.
It's very tough to scoop.
Yeah, it's tough to scoop in a bomb pot for sure.
Thank you very much.
As our friend Uncle T likes to say, bomb pots can make a bad no-limit session a good one, and a good no-limit session a disaster.
I love that saying. I love that. I've been bailed
Yeah.
out by bomb pots so many times, and I've been crushed by so many.
Yeah.
You know, 2 outers, it seems like, to scoops for a lot, and it's just so hard.
Yeah, the other day here at TCH, I was having just a marginal. I was about even no-limit session, and I flopped a straight flush with 6-3 of diamonds on one board, and then the nut flush on the other board, and got a scoop. So
Yeah, it's
Went
gotta,
home
you gotta
happy.
have a crazy hand like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Or, sorry, 3 raises.
And even then, like someone probably had a set or something. You gotta hope to fade like the board pair or something to not get scooped.
Jason in chat says bomb pots. That's usually my bathroom break. Fair enough. I know there's a fair number of people that
For sure.
echo your sentiments.
Yeah, it seems like there's always 1 or 2 people sitting out
Yeah.
when I'm at a table. I think it depends on how people ran when they first started playing it.
I agree.
I think
Yeah.
that
If
when
they
you-
ran really bad early, then yeah.
6 call.
No offense to the commenter, but I tend to target a player that sits out bomb pots as usually a weaker player, because maybe they just don't have as much experience and don't realize the you know, the upside that you can realize. But
Yeah, I've never really thought about that too much, I guess.
Mosquito
sense.
with tripped 6s here, way ahead.
Unfortunately for him, man just doesn't have anything. What's nice about Mosquito's image is I think he gets paid for sure a lot here. If Manny just has anything, because Mosquito can have anything.
Yeah, that's definitely something I agree. Yeah, I've noticed that about Mosquito. He might spew a chip here or there, but he tends to get paid off with his big hands.
I agree. Something I noticed about him too, it seems like post-flop actually, he doesn't like to, I feel like he actually doesn't like to bluff very much, but like pre-flop he'll play a lot of different hands. Play a lot of different hands, and so it makes it tough to play against because you never know what he has.
Yeah, it makes it really hard to know. Yeah, it's very hard to put him on a range. So at post flop, you're like that could have hit him squarely in the eyes, or he could have been completely missed. But it definitely makes it a little tougher.
Josh, should we organize a late trip? Jim?
JR limping here, hijack, Barber limping.
6 call. 7 check.
4 ways to a flop.
A lot of marginal holdings here. See if somebody can connect.
Hearts would be nice.
Hearts would be fireworks. Yep.
I wasn't sure if it's like last year or it was like
Said we get 8-6-5, a couple of diamonds. Nobody with the diamond.
6 bet.
Yeah, with Kevin's hand here, I think you can. I prefer raising with the diamond here, but you can definitely raise this or call. Even folding's okay, but you can, make the nut straight with a 9, of course, and stack a 7.
4 call. 3 players.
I generally favor putting more money in with hands when I can turn the nuts. Nuts, and super cool or someone.
Flush draw comes, so that'll probably slow these players down. Barber's still good with top pair.
7 check.
Yeah, no one likes to see the diamond.
4 check.
Jack of diamonds.
Actually, Barber's going to make 2 pair, but the 4th diamond comes, so bluff possibility for Manny or Kevin here, but
7 check.
They will check over to Barber, and I'd imagine he's going to check back and be happy to see his 2 pairs good.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't really go for thin value on that board.
Yeah, and I like the way everyone played this hand. Honestly, I think it's I like Manny's stab on the flop. I like that call, Barber calling, and the check through. Got the 20 on again.
Kristen in the box, heavily involved with the putting together the stream and as well as dealing. One of the many experienced dealers here at Texas Card House. She's been here as long as I've played, which is about 3.5 years.
Yeah, she's a great human being. JR with aces here.
First rocket sighting. Believe it or not, James, we actually went 90 hands one time before somebody got aces. It was pretty
That is really
statistically unlikely.
Yeah, was that a full table?
It was a full table, 90
Wow.
hands, and we finally got aces.
That is unlikely.
So aces on hand 15 here. Manny with the big hand buster with the 10 jack.
I do think it's a little too loose pre-flop to call with Jack 10 offsuit.
I would agree. Yeah, I'm going to let that go there.
Yeah, it's just gonna. I've just been surprised, so you never know. You never know. I don't want to assume anyone's gonna do anything. Yeah, he's gotta give his hand up. With the backdoor flush draw, you could float, but I think, or raise actually. I like raising too. Offsuit, no flush draw. Back flush draw, give it up.
Yeah, if you raise there, you're really going to put JR on his heels because he's going to be worried about sets, 2 pairs, some of the draws you mentioned.
You did it? Why not?
As played, though, JR will win a small one there with aces. Nothing wrong with that.
Bigger?
One player who I'm interested to see is Jackson. He hasn't played any hands yet. I don't think I've ever seen him before or played with him before.
Yeah, likewise. So, yeah, we'll be learning about how Jackson plays together. So far, that's folding, but I assume that'll change.
Yeah.
One king. No, you hit the one king is like halfway there.
You can't play poker just to fold, you know. So.
Yeah.
I did rush back though.
I will say I'm curious of your thoughts on this. So as a professional, one of the things that's tough is to not get where, you know, you're kind of card dead and you sort of force the issue because that'll get you in some trouble too. So I don't know, how do you handle it when you're card dead?
We're all guilty of it.
She was really upset that I was playing.
Way up at the top.
Unfortunately, I think I do tend to loosen up a little bit and sometimes force things, and it doesn't work out for me ever. And,
Yeah, likewise.
But like usually the way I handle is like if I'm really bored, you know, I might just go for, might be a superstitious thing, but I like to just go for a quick 5-10 minute walk outside, take a breather, kind of tell myself, you know, it's just variance. You're gonna have stretches of good cards and bad cards,
Yep.
and you just have to be patient.
Yeah, I like the taking sometimes I'll just take like a dinner break and then come back and tell myself, hey, this is a whole new session.
Yeah,
Even though you're
exactly,
sitting
yeah.
down to the same chips or whatever, it's a whole new session.
For sure.
And sometimes that reset is all I need. But yeah, I'm definitely with you, especially if I'm at a table where I feel like there's a lot of weak players and I'm card dead, and I'm like, oh man, if I could just run a little bit good, I could really exploit this.
Yeah.
And that makes it really tough.
Yeah, and it's really easy to tell yourself, I have such an edge over someone. I'm just crushing someone so hard, but you really can't.
Yeah, I usually will play that over.
It just never works out. It just never works out.
Yeah, I always have to tell myself, just play your game.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll come
Play your
eventually.
game.
Maybe it won't even come today, but don't spew away a bunch of chips
Yeah.
so that you start in the hole tomorrow. Yeah,
Variance always works itself out. You know.
yeah, that's
Well, I don't want to say always, but generally speaking.
yeah.
I'm actually on a pretty big downswing right now.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm on like a 300-hour downswing. I'm stuck like 10,000 or something.
on the wrong side of variance at the moment.
Yeah, mostly from the 25-50 game.
Well, I won't name the player, but a player that's with us today has told me they've gone on 6-figure in a month downswing. So It hits even the best of us.
For sure. I think I could guess who that player is, but I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
I'm not going to say it.
Yeah.
Do you see people still, JWin just had Jack 4 offsuit. Do you still see people playing the Jack 4, the Robbie hand?
Actually, I hadn't seen it, but when I called the action last week, there was a guy that ran a huge bluff with Jack 4.
Okay.
So that was just kind of fun to watch and hear. But yeah, I've seen people playing it a little less. I'll admit that I partook shortly after that happened just for a little fun. But sometimes I like to run a bluff with a junk hand early and then show it so that I have a looser table image than what I'm actually going to play.
Yeah,
but
that makes a lot of
have you been seeing the robbery?
I have not been seeing the robbery recently. It seemed like everyone was doing it for a good 6 months or a year, and then it died out pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah.
JR is going for it here with just 3 high with no outs at all.
0 outs, but Jackson with just a top pair on a pretty scary connected board. So this is the first hand we're seeing Jackson play, and it looks like he's carving out a call.
Yeah, I like the play by Jackson. Obviously, your hand's not good enough to raise or do anything else with, and he did open under the gun, I believe, and got called by JR. And a lot of the hands JR is going to call with, of course, it's like 8s, 7s, 9, 10 suited. He's blocking all of that, so I think we'll see what happens on the river.
Queen on the river, so Jackson downgraded the second pair here.
Yeah, and I think Jackson's going to snap this off, I would think. He's calling the turn.
JR is trying to finish telling the story, but yeah, I agree with you. I think Jackson might find a call here.
Maybe I call too loose. I think, me personally, I'm just like snap calling here, but I don't know what JR is representing, especially with this size. He's only betting half pot. I think maybe it's like a milker bet, but if he has a 6, I think he would have bet a little larger. So
Good call there by Jackson. Follows through with your advice. 900 headed his way.
solid hand by Jackson.
So that'll put him about in a 3-way tie for most winnings on hand 18. Long way to go.
Big blind straddle, please.
$20 straddle on from Mosquito.
Love to see it. What's the biggest you'd straddle in a game like this? Would you go to 20 or 40? What would you do? If everyone was doing it at the table, what's the biggest you'd
I'd go to 40. I typically will do, if everybody's doing it, I'll go as big as everybody wants to go. It's generally my personal rule. But
yeah.
If not everybody, I would say I think like 40. What about you?
I'd about the same probably. If everyone's doing it, I go to 40. If you go to 80, I think like there's not much playability left in, and I don't like when there's not a lot of playability. So
changes the game a lot. I did have a wild 1-2 session here a while back. I like to tell everyone about. In a 1-2 game, we had 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 40, 80, 160.
That's crazy. That's a table you want to be at.
Yeah, it was a fun table.
How'd you do that session?
I did really well that session. That was a good session.
You
Yeah,
tell people about it,
I look back fondly on that one.
Yeah.
The thing I'm cautious about is like last summer I lost a lot of money in Vegas.
Steady Eddie opens. I like the fold from Steady Eddie. Jackson 3-betting. I like the 3-bet in the big blind. You see a lot of players even just flat ace queen suited in the big blind. Oh well, I guess this was Straddle. So never mind. Yeah, you got a 3-bet.
Last year I only did World Series. But I played a lot of
4.
cash there.
We might see some fireworks here.
Open ender for Mosquito. Jackson with 2 overs and a gut shot. Backdoor spades.
And if I'm Jackson here, I like betting my entire range.
I think we're going to see a raise from Josh.
You think so? I think he's going to call.
Okay,
We'll
well,
see.
this will be interesting. I'm
You
not
know
all
him
that.
better than I do.
I'm not all that confident in my prediction here, but I'll stick with my raise.
I think you've been more right than I have in the past. Looks like he's thinking about it. Yeah.
Here it comes.
Looks like you're right. So you know the players better than I do. Now, what do you think of the raise with 9-8 offsuit here? What do you think?
Well, Jackson has a decent hand here, but I mean, it might get the job done. I don't hate it. I mean, you give yourself 2 ways to win, but he's not going to love to see the call here.
Yeah, and I actually like the call from Jackson. I do like it. You're ahead of a lot of the bluffs, like the queen nines, the king queens.
Huge brick on the turn, another 4, changes nothing. See if Mosquito keeps telling the story that he's got a pair at least, and he's going to. He jams, and that'll do it. Nice aggression from Mosquito. Do you know why he goes by Mosquito?
Yeah, he owns a mosquito company.
Yep, pest control.
I was telling him my wife and I are getting ads all over the place for his pest control company specifically for some reason.
Yeah. When I first met him, I wasn't aware of that, and I was talking with a family member, my mom, in fact, and I said, yeah, it feels like old-time poker. You know, there was Amarillo Slim and Mosquito Josh, and, you know, it sounds like...
It sure does.
Pretty good poker nickname.
Barber's thinking something. 6-5 suited.
4 raise, 40.
Raised a suited connector earlier, got enfolded to a 3-bet, so we'll see if he gets a little stickier here. Manny's got a real hand. King, queen suited.
6 raise, 95, 74. Hey, Jiggy.
It's going to raise it up.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Manny go a little larger here. You do want to get some hands to fold when you go so small here.
Yeah, it's basically a min click.
Yeah. You want hands like ace jack, and
95.
even ace queen offsuit to fold, and you can't get those hands to fold when you go so small.
4 calls.
So Barber comes along this time to the small 3-bet.
Yeah.
Spades would be a disaster for Barber. And
You do
there's
see
spades.
You do see spades.
Actually, gut shot royal flush draw for Manny. The jack of spades would give him the ultimate hand. This is a bad spot for Barber here.
I like the call from Barber. Like the bet from Manny.
Late junior.
Barber doesn't know it, but needs to avoid a spade. Turns a gut shot. Needs a 7 now. A few more outs for Barber.
4 check.
Manny will keep betting his royal flush draw.
I would have liked to see Manny bet a little larger there too on the turn, I think, if you're gonna bet. Seven of
Ooh,
spades
and the spade on the river. Flush over flush. Manny with the nuts.
No getting away from this for Barber.
Yeah, Barber's going to lead into him as well. This is going to be ugly.
You know, Barber's a good player. He might consider folding to an all-in. Oh, never mind. Just snaps.
Looks
I am
like-
never folding.
Yeah, so Manny
It's the cooler.
just flats actually on the paired board. I thought he might
Oh, I
have.
thought he would have went.
Did he jam with 1 chip there? I think he may have.
No,
he just
called,
flatted.
He called the nuts on the river.
Yeah, I mean the board
So-
was paired, but I don't know. What
It
do you
wasn't
do there?
paired.
Do
It
you
wasn't
flat?
paired. It was ace 10, 9, 8, 7.
Oh, we didn't have the pair. That was previous
had-
hand. The 4 paired on the turn.
He had the
Yeah,
nuts,
so.
you got. You
Yeah,
gotta
the
go
stone
all
cold
in.
nuts. How do you not raise them?
I don't know. I think he said he thought there was a straight flush possibility.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, but
Well, he
I-
blocked
I've-
the straight flush possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've played with Manny like once or twice, and he seems to be a very tight player for my assessment.
Yeah.
Which is why I said that Barber, if he's played with Manny before, might consider folding actually a flush. Manny
Really?
is very.
Yeah.
Manny seems to be pretty snug, I think.
Wound up getting a wheel on. Sorry, JR.
So
Or maybe just a check bet call
yeah.
instead of leading into him on the river, but
I tried. 5 call. 6 fold.
has played cooler there for Barber, flush over flush, but doesn't take the maximum damage as Manny just flatted.
Super lucky in that spot. That's a spot where variance, you're running good. That's a form of variance people don't realize when players make mistakes like that.
Yeah.
I had a player in Las Colinas. Looks like we got a hand here actually.
Yeah, Kevin with the ladies, Mosquito with a pair of 9s.
I was looking for a royal flush.
Jackson 3-betting 1 to 125.
Okay, please.
It's aggressive. I don't hate it on the button. I think it's slightly too loose, especially against a player like Kevin. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
3-bet Kevin light because Kevin's a good player. I'm not trying to
Yeah,
necessarily
maybe
get
a suited connector or even a one gapper, but 8-5 is a little wide.
8-5 just slightly too wide. Mosquito Josh putting the call in here. With 9s here, what do you do? Do you call or do you raise? Or
I'm just going to call here and probably sort of go into set mine mode, but Kevin's going to pump it up here to looks like about 300 or 400. We'll get the actually 500.
Yeah, this is
So
what
he
you
goes
gotta
big.
worry about when you have 9s, and I think Kevin, in his mind, I think he went so big because I think he's taking advantage of the fact that I think Mosquito Josh does not like to fold pre-flop.
Right.
And when Mosquito Josh puts a flat in here, I think it screams like 8s, 9s, 10s, jacks. So I think, I imagine Mosquito Josh can put the call in.
I'm leaning fold.
You're leaning fold? You think?
Yeah, I think he can get away here.
I guess he can't set mine.
Yeah, he lets it go.
Good
Yeah,
fold for
yeah. Set mining, you're getting the wrong odds now with the stack sizes. So
Yeah.
Kevin will take that one down without having to see a flop, which inevitably would come with an ace or a king when you have queens. I know we all feel that way when we have kings. If you have kings, there's about a 98% chance of an ace on the flop.
I'd say it's always an ace on the flop. Always. But back to talking about like running good, what I was going to say is I had a player in Las Colinas who went all in on the river in a bomb pot, and he got up and left the room while still the hand's still going on, and it gets to me and I call, and his hand's dead because he's not there to flip it over. And I'm like, that's a form of running good.
Yeah,
that
that is a
people don't
form of
talk
running
about.
good.
Like, because we would have chopped the pot probably.
Yeah.
And I called and they couldn't find him anywhere. There's nowhere.
Wow,
to
he
see
was
him,
not
so they
aware of
marked
that
him
rule,
dead.
huh?
He is not aware that you have to table your own hand. So for
Wow.
those of you at home, make sure you are at the table when you go all in and you table, because they will not table it for you in most places. See if JWin puts a 3-bet in here. He did with ace-6 off earlier. Ace-5 off is better than ace-6 off, actually.
Yeah.
So he just has to fold it this time.
I call ace-5 suited the poor man's ace-king nowadays. I feel like everybody plays it kind of like.
It's the in thing to do right now.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
the in
4-bet
thing.
the ace.
So you agree that? Yeah, the ace-5 suited, you got to 4-bet it?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
sometimes you're supposed to flat it, too,
Yeah.
depending. But it's definitely, and I think people are going a little overboard
I
sometimes.
agree.
I think they're
Yeah.
4-betting hands that shouldn't be 4-bet too often. Like, I see it with ace-7 suited, ace-6 suited, ace-8 suited. You got to be careful. You get too aggressive pre-flop, people can start exploiting you, getting it in lighter against you, jamming on you, right? So they're going to fold.
And you just get in a lot of tough spots post-flop where when you flopped a pair and you really don't know where you are.
Yeah, if you make a pair of aces, you don't feel great about it. Of course,
Yeah.
Right?
So we got top pair for Barber and Jackson here with their pair of 9s.
And Mosquito Josh.
Medium kicker. Oh, and
That's the
Mosquito.
best hand, actually, right now.
All the 9s taken. But Barber is going to bet his with his 10 kicker, backdoor clubs.
And I don't mind Barber's play here. Some people might think it's a little too loose with just a 10, but it actually works out pretty well for you because you can sometimes get a better 9 to fold sometimes, and you can get better clubs to fold. And so, like, he's turning his hand now, since he's getting better clubs to fold, he can now backdoor flush and be good. So
All the 9s call, so 662 a turn. Jack of hearts. Improves no one. King of spades on the river brings in the front door flush.
And I wonder if Jackson's going to take a stab here. I think once it checks 3 ways, your hand is, you're not winning nearly often enough. So
Yeah, I think I checked this one back. I guess he's going to turn his hand into a bluff, pretend represent the king or a flush. And that'll actually get the best hand to fold. Mosquito lets his hand go. See what Barber does. Does get to close the action, so he's in a little bit easier spot than Mosquito.
Yeah, it's really tough in this spot to think of a hand that Jackson could be bluffing, and I'm impressed Jackson found a bluff here.
Yeah, nice play.
It's a very nice play.
So Jackson, we stand corrected. You didn't play the first 14 hands, but you've been pretty active,
it's
playing
pretty
well
aggressive
since
with the
then.
9-8 off, so
Yeah.
it was a good play.
So we're about an hour in. We'll be in here with you until 10 o'clock Central at Texas Card House Austin off 183 in Anderson Mill. Promo of the day is Quad Kings. Make Quad Kings in either your hand in PLO or with Pocket Kings and No Limit Hold'em, and you win a progressive prize.
You said it's $1,200?
I believe it's up to, I'll check with our producer Mel here, see.
$1,200.
And as just James said, yep, $1,200 for Quad Kings. I've actually won that promo before with Quad Kings.
I was just going to ask if you've ever won the promo.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, it wasn't $1,200 when I won it, but I was still very happy to win.
Was it 200?
Yeah, it was It was actually 300.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because an employee of TCH had won, so they get half the promo when they win because they play for free. So as I understand it, so I actually got an odd number, which is very rare.
Okay. It's a pretty nice benefit.
But it wasn't all in a big pot, so the pot was actually bigger than the promo, but it was a very nice cherry on top. Have you ever won any kind of promo?
Back when I lived in Albuquerque, I won 2 promos. I think I won a hot seat drawing for the big tournament they do every year, and then I think I won a high hand promo, or another hot seat. It wasn't for a lot; it was for a couple $100 or something.
Yeah.
But they were doing them like every 10 minutes, hot seats or something. So. Have you ever won a bad beat jackpot anywhere?
I have not.
Have not.
No. Yeah, I'd love to be a part of one of those, but have not yet.
Yeah, no, I haven't gotten a piece at all. I feel like I've paid like tens of thousands in because I've not gotten a piece.
Yeah, I know there's a player here at TCH that years ago was playing in, I believe, Mississippi or somewhere like that, and won, I think it was 104,000 in a bad beat jackpot.
Oh, that's nice.
playing low stakes, so have not had that luck yet, but
I
maybe
wish some of
someday.
the clubs would. Jackson with aces here.
Second bullet sighting. He'll raise it up.
Bad beat jackpots. Are you in favor of them or against them?
Oh, I'm in favor of
You're in
them.
favor of them? I'm in favor. Some players don't like the $1 coming out or $2 coming out, but I think it increases action.
For
way
sure.
increases action.
Yeah, and just the excitement of that looming possibility that you could
Exactly.
win a massive amount above whatever stakes you're playing. So we're going to go 4 ways here to a flop. Jackson with the aces probably doesn't love being so multi-way. I
was going to ask if you prefer it or you're...
Yeah,
you
I
don't.
definitely would rather be 3 ways max if I have aces.
I like going as many ways as possible, personally.
Really?
I love going 7 or 8 ways because, yes, I'm going to lose a lot more frequently. You know, if I take aces 7 ways, I might only win 35–40% of the time. But the flip side of that is you're getting 7 to 1 on your money.
Getting a lot, paid off a lot more.
3 to 1 on your money, right?
So Jackson will c-bet it. Nobody with the king there on the king high flop, and he'll win a small one. On to our 3rd bomb pot.
Love to see these.
Chips you can see on the table. The orange chip in seat 4 is worth 1,000. Green chips are 25. Black is 100. Red is 5. $1 chips for the blinds and tippy are white.
There's also a purple chip, and seat 7 you can kind of see Doug. It's a 500 chip. Purple or pink, I don't know. I think it's purple.
Yeah, I call it purple. Yeah. I still remember the first time I got a purple and the first time I got an orange.
Oh,
It's always
feels so
exciting.
good.
Yeah.
I actually got my first purple and my first yellow in the past year, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've yet to get, I don't know, the TCH, I think Las Colinas has 5Ks, and I think they're like red.
Oh, really?
I think they're like a reddish orange or something, multicolor kind of. Yet to get one of those. One day, one day.
6 chip,
Let's see what we got here.
7 chip, 9 chip, 1 chip, 90. 2 bet, 90.
JWin's open-ended with 9-8.
Mosquito Josh flopping top set on the bottom.
Really nice board for top set as well for a bomb pot.
Yeah. Yeah, if I'm Mosquito Josh here, I don't know if I prefer raising or calling here. Again, you don't have much on the other board, but you do have the double blockers to the straight and the Queen of Hearts is blocks and flush draw. So, like, if he pots here, like, Queen 9, I'm folding.
Yeah.
Or, like, yeah, Queen 9, I'm folding. And then you're just crushed by Ace Queen.
Kevin has a gutter, but Mosquito's got 3/4 of the queens tied up.
With aces, the aces count for something. He also has a backdoor flush draw on both. The backdoors matter a lot in PLO.
4 players.
So, looks like brick.
Yeah, brick. 4 of clubs, 5 of clubs on the turns. Barber does have 2 pair on the top board
3 bet, 3
with 10 jack.
Definitely not liking Barber's hand, though, of course.
No, yeah,
I think if I'm Kevin, I'm letting this go. I think you just can't really make the nuts, and if you make the nuts up top, you're chopping a lot. Right?
yeah, I think I'm bowing out right here, and he chooses to fold. See what JR is going to do.
I like JR's play actually. I like the all in. He has a hand that's not really like his hand's not that bad no matter what he gets called by.
Yeah, and we can see they're going to chop it up no matter what. So chop between JR and Mosquito. Decent little profit for both players. 2K pot, 135 profit.
And when you're JR, you definitely, I guess he has hearts, but you definitely don't want the board to run out like a pair up top and then the bottom's like a 6 or a 7 or a 10 or a jack, and then it's just disaster for you where you have like a mediocre hand on both boards.
Yeah.
You know, it's really tough to call then.
It's a little under the.
Back to no limit hold'em.
Something I've noticed so far is we haven't really had much tanking. Most of the players are playing pretty quickly tonight.
No, we typically don't get a ton of tanks on the stream, I guess because people feel some ownership to keep the game moving along. But
Yeah.
yeah, no tanking really. No. Trying to think of the toughest spot we've had for any player. Probably Barber versus Manny with flush over flush, but that hand sort of played itself.
Well, you'd think it played itself, but man,
Yeah.
I forgot to put the jam in.
Yeah, yeah, I still very confused by that, but so ace queen here for Jackson, picking up some hands now.
How long does if you're not in the hand, like if you're not involved in the hand, how long do you give someone before you call the clock? And like, or do you call the clock at all?
I have actually never called the clock on. Actually, no, I take that back. I have called the clock one time.
Okay. How long was
But
it?
I give I give pretty good grace, especially the only time that I don't. So it was a couple minutes, but it wasn't a very big pot. So like if somebody has an all-in decision, it's like, okay, it's for all your chips. I'll give you basically however long you want. But it was kind of a small pot, and it had been an obnoxious player that was just kind of enjoying the moment of being the center of attention. So I don't know. What about you? How long do you give folks?
It depends on the size of the pot. I think, yeah, it just depends on the size of the pot for the stakes. Like if it's a pot that is 4 or 5 times like the buy-in, like what the max buy-in is, I just give people as long as they need. Maybe 10 minutes I'd give someone.
Yeah.
If it's like an average decision, I give like 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Out in Texas.
I think that's
like
fair.
everyone's paying time technically, and
Yeah.
you know, we're technically losing money while people tank.
So Jackson's going to turn the world here. He's got Broadway with the Queen of Clubs.
And he's very lucky he has a hand that just crushes Barber here. So.
Yeah, Barber in bad shape.
Chop here. So.
He's actually going to bet into Jackson here. And so Jackson's got to be a little worried about a flop flush, but he's going to go ahead and raise, it appears.
I think raising or calling here is fine. I think there's merit in both. Did the flop go check? I can't remember.
I believe it did. And wow, Barber calls pretty quickly. I think I would have gotten away there. You're losing to a lot of 2 pairs.
Yeah, there's not a lot of good rivers for your hand.
Yeah, and there's a lot of terrifying rivers,
Like
and
that
that's
one.
one of them.
Yeah.
4 clubs now. Jackson now with a flush, improving from his straight. Does lose to the ace of clubs.
Yeah. And Barber has a lot of ace of clubs here, given that he just snapped the turn. So
I don't know what you think, but I think I go small with like a blocker type bet, like maybe. Actually, that's exactly what he did. I was going to say 250, 300 or so. That way, if you get raised, you can just let it go, but you prevent your opponent from blasting you off your hand.
I think so online I'll say solvers, they prefer to jam here. They prefer to jam with like play a jam range on it. They don't prefer to do the little
Really?
bet. Really, yeah. A lot of people don't know
That's
that. And it
interesting.
might jam the Queen of Clubs even, but usually it's going to stick to the Ace of Clubs only. The problem is that when you have the Ace of Clubs, you're never getting raised, and the whole, whenever you have the nuts, you want to get as most money as possible. And so solvers, even if it takes a 2 or 3x overbet, they prefer to just put it all in.
Wow.
But then they do find like they might barrel off like a solver here with a hand like ace with ace queen. If a solver has like ace 5 of hearts, believe it or not, it's going to turn that hand into like a bluff on the turn. It's going to barrel off and then go all in on the river. But like that's something that people are never doing live. So like,
Yeah. No, that's interesting you bring that up. That's actually one of the probably weaknesses in my game that I've had to work on and gotten a little better at is not being too value betty with my very strong hands and not making, you know, the most value when I do have a big hand. So I've started to try to, especially if I sense that my opponent has a hand, like for example, I flopped kings full here recently in a 2-5 game, and it was the flop was king jack jack, and I had pocket kings. Great spot, obviously.
Of course.
And it was pretty apparent to me that my opponent had a weak jack, so I just went ahead and got it all in. And I know that's not as marginal of a spot as maybe you were describing, but I think in the past I might have just been a little too milky and maybe not got his whole stack.
It's possible. It depends on the player, of course. And I think that, you know, when Jackson has that Queen of Clubs on the river, I think that most players, most players in general, live and online even, when they're in barber shoes, they're only calling.
9 raise, 300.
Oh, hey Rob, how's it going? How's it going? Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. He's a good friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
We actually study together.
Oh, I
know,
got
so
you.
he's tired of he doesn't want me to yap anymore. You know.
I got it. That's not throbby, is it?
That's yes.
That's
Yes.
yes. Yeah, yeah, that is
that's
Rob.
yes,
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Hi, Robbie.
Yes, with 4 S's. He
Yeah.
corrected me one day.
There's yes. Okay, that sounds that completely makes sense now.
Yeah, this commentator sounds clueless. Yeah, I agree. Totally clueless.
No, I didn't know that y'all studied. What do y'all? How do y'all handle your study?
Well,
Just bouncing hands off of each other, or
yeah,
looking at
pretty much
solvers,
bounce hands
stuff
off
like
each
that.
other for the most part.
It's really valuable to have somebody like that.
Oh, 3 S's, my bad, not 4 S's.
Oh, okay. Throbby, yeah. I know you try to switch to yes, Robert, but you'll forever be Throbby in my heart. That was so funny.
What happened? You just made it throbby?
I don't know
Because he's a
how
heartthrob.
he ended up with that, but yeah, I found it to be kind of a funny name, and he had an interesting hand that stream as well. So versus TM. TM also, speaking of bouncing hands, he's a well-known local pro. His real name is Terry, and
TM.
he's TM. Yeah, he's kind of he's a tournament crusher, but plays cash as well, and he's been on the stream, and he's somebody that I bounced hands off of.
Game looks good. Wish I could come battle. I agree. The game does look good. I was
Get
a
on
little
over here.
disappointed. I was commentating today. Looks like a fun game. Straddling a lot.
1 bet 50.
New player Jackson, given action, playing well. Flops a flush draw here with 9-10 suited.
Yeah, this is just going to go fold, of course. I imagine JWin's doing some posturing here. So,
Yeah, pretending to have a decision.
yeah.
Lets it go. JWin will appreciate this. Probably a little plug. He's a coach at pokercoaching.com. Has his own content there. Actually let me bounce a hand off of him this weekend, so appreciate that. Had an interesting spot in a tournament, so
3,500.
I find tournaments a lot harder to play than cash for some reason.
I actually find them easier but more frustrating. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the decisions are more binary, especially when you get down, below 20 big blinds or so, But a lot of it's, rejamming or jamming. But you don't have those deep stack complex spots, except for early in the tournament, of course, like on later streets. But yeah, the variance is kind of brutal sometimes. You're just about always going to end up having to win a coin flip or a 60-40 or a 70-30 somewhere
You gotta
along the
win
way.
a lot of them.
Yeah, and a lot of them. Yeah. Kevin here also plays tournaments. He's had some. It's certainly a skill game, though, still. He's been a consistent winner in both cash and tournaments. And he's going to raise up king-queen, or actually just flat call.
A little surprised to see the flat with king queen. Jackson. Wait, did Jackson just fold ace king?
I'm going to guess that was a misread. That tends to happen the most often in seat 1. I can't imagine that he just folded ace-king. We'll give him credit for a misread on that one. But yeah, sometimes the cards that pass the sensor to seat 1 or to seat 2 get caught by seat 1, so likely that's what happened. Based on watching Jackson play the last 10, 15 hands, I'm pretty sure he's not folding ace-king.
Especially not a single raise pot in a
yeah,
spot.
yeah.
Interesting. Interesting to see Kevin put in a call here with just king queen. I mean, you're really only hoping to turn a king or a queen. I mean, there's.
Yeah, may just be floating, thinking he can take it away later. He does have position, but yeah.
Kevin is a good player. He definitely picks his spots well. Yeah,
agreed. Very tough player. Manny's going to turn top pair. Actually had the worst hand and now improves.
By far, he had the worst hand, yeah.
Brick on the river, however, any ace would make a wheel, so that's probably going to slow Manny down. And what do I know? He's going to bet here.
Turn his tens into a bluff. Very small here. Very, very small. I think Kevin is going to sense some weakness here and put it. I'm wrong again. I'm just always wrong.
Hey, it's fun to make the predictions. But
Yeah, Manny does have a lot of ace X.
yeah, that was a good bluff opportunity probably for.
Yeah.
But as you said, Manny, maybe they have some history, and he knows Manny's leans toward a tighter player. He's going to have a lot of aces in his range there. But
when he bets 50 into 300, that would make me think he has like a marginal hand like he does. Obviously,
Yeah.
we can see the cards, but I don't think I'd bet $50 with an ace necessarily there with the wheel.
yeah, that's true.
I'd go a little bigger.
What would you go? Like half pot-ish? It's about a $300 pot.
Probably. I'm going to check a lot, and I'm going to bet like half pot to three-quarter pot a lot. I think that Mosquito Josh will have a lot of 6x since he closed the action, so you got to be worried about that. But he also checked on the river. But it's a spot where I am worried about getting check raised sometimes with an ace against Mosquito Josh. Yeah, I like half pot because like I'll also have a lot of hands like King Queen, King Jack that I barreled the flop, and then now I have to force a fold with. So
9 of diamonds is a bird card.
try to get like low mid pairs to fold. Would be the idea. Or like ace king that floated, or like ace queen, ace jack that floated. Oh wait, those make a wheel, so never mind.
King Queen here for Doug from the cutoff. It's going to raise it up. JWin with a 9-5 suited, and I think he actually just makes the call. Probably might 3-bet there.
Yeah.
He was super happy. You could tell like he was like this was a big game for him.
Yeah.
He was just super happy. He didn't even know like what
Got to be careful what you say when JWin's in a hand. You might end up in his vlog.
Is he making vlogs again? I don't know. I know
Yeah, he
stopped
made
for a
one
bit.
actually out of a TCH stream a couple months ago that I called, and I made some of the footage. He ran a big bluff, and
I think I know
that
what
was
hand you're
part of the
talking about,
content.
probably.
So
I think was it the big bluff against Chris? I don't know. It was a bluff against Chris.
I think it may have been Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris is a good friend of mine, and he told me about that hand. So.
I actually showed
JWin calling with 9-5 of diamonds here. I think I just prefer to let it go.
Yeah,
beat
you've
by a
got
vote.
3 8s out there. Any pair is going to be a full house. Does brick out. And actually, JR Rivers, the essential nuts, with 8s full of aces.
And he bet really small, and I actually like this play against JWin because I think JWin is going to maybe see this as weakness because I believe JR bet the turn, representing 8s full of kings. And on an ace, I think that this bet makes it look like JR is trying to get a cheap showdown with 8s full of kings.
Yeah.
And so I think he might induce a raise here from JWin.
It does look like JWin has
Yes, and he's
that
gonna do
intention up his sleeve here, and he does raise, unfortunately. Quick call.
Well played by JR. I gotta say that was well. Good job reading the situation.
that's a ridiculous size.
He says he thinks ace high was good, and he was right, actually.
That is
He thought
true.
it was good. Good read.
This guy's like a scared wreck playing like above his usual stakes, and it's just like he's not really snapping. It's like
Bottom of our screen, you can see the showdown numbers.
that of like not doing with wings.
Not always the good measure of exactly how well someone's playing. Sometimes people can just be, you know, if you're bluffing a high frequency, you're not going to go to a showdown, even if you're getting it through. If you're showing down a lot of hands, hopefully they're monsters because you need to win on the river. But I don't know. What do you take from that statistic? Went to showdown.
So, I can't remember the exact number that's like
Optimal.
theoretically correct.
Yeah.
I honestly can't remember. I want to say it's like somewhere between like 25 and 40%, if I remember right, is like optimal. But it's going to change drastically when you're going multiple ways the flop. You're playing more hands. You're going to go to showdown a lot less when you play a hand because you're just like not going to have a hand that can beat 3 or 4 other hands in a pot, right?
Yeah.
So your number's going to be a lot lower. Yeah, I don't read into it too much.
Yeah, I agree. Especially only
interested
30
in-
hands in, you're getting a pretty small sample size. Even with the V-pips, that can change pretty drastically over the course of a stream.
I think the one I like to see is the aggression frequency, and the aggression frequency should be somewhere between 60 and 70, and I think that's. I don't know how that changes multi-way too much. There's another friend of mine, Slim Shady.
Ah,
I told him I'd be commentating. He always calls me a luckbox fish because I just seem to run so good in his home game.
hi, Slim Shady.
It was like a $25 buy-in, and I think I won it was like a true $25 max or something, and I won like $350 one night or something.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Against his friends. I just ran so good. I ran so hot. Sorry about that. There's one hand I remember. He flopped 2 pair, and I bet like an under pair, and I just turned a set, and I like coolered him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I remember that one. He was very upset after that one. But
I don't know how you feel about it, but I played a home game in my neighborhood, actually, with some folks that, it'd just be good to kind of network with and stuff. And it was very low stakes. I think people bought in for like $100 each or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran so hot that I was almost mad. I was like, I wish I could have just taken that over to the 1-3
Right?
table or the 2-5. Yeah, it was weird.
I
Yeah,
think
guess
everyone feels the same way. Like
it's
you
the-
run so good in the low stakes.
Yeah,
You know?
it's the plight of a poker player. You win big and you're still annoyed.
It's the worst. It's the worst.
No, I was like, did I just use up all my good variance in this little bitty game?
Yeah. I ran super hot at like 2-5 in Las Colinas, and I played 25-50. JD.
Oh, yeah.
Who JD is. I was playing with JD, and I ran Ace King into his aces like 5 ways twice in a row.
Oh, my
Like
gosh.
it was in like 1 hour. So I just
Yeah.
got stacked both hands.
Brutal.
Ace King into aces, 5-handed. I lost like $8 grand or something. Like,
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, when you, I don't know if you consider it shot taking to play 25-50 for yourself or
It's
what
shot
not.
taking.
Shot taking, yeah. So, yeah, it's kind of gross when you shot take and run bad.
Right.
Yeah. Got top pair here for JR on
JWin's got
9-10.
a really good
deuce.
drawing hand here.
Yeah, JWin with a nice draw. Gutter and a flush draw. Needs an 8 or a spade.
I don't know what I like to do if I'm JWin here. I think I prefer just calling, personally. I couldn't really give you an exact reason because multi-way is tough, but
Yeah. Jackson will let his trays go. JWin does raise.
Oh, the bet. I'm sorry. 275.
JR top pair medium kicker here, so not the most fun spot when you get raised.
yeah. You know against JWin, too, the double barrel is probably coming.
Yeah.
No matter what the turn is. So.
And a lot of turns he would hate to see.
And I would say this might be a tell from JR. He is visibly frustrated with the hand that he should be visibly frustrated with. And
Yeah.
I think JWin is going to notice that and definitely put the barrel in no matter what, if whether the turn's good or bad for him,
Yeah, he definitely looks uncomfortable with this call if he makes it.
for sure.
Folding is probably best after the body language,
Yeah.
and it looks like that's what he does.
Yeah, if you feel like in a hand where if you gave off something, if you gave off like information, are you more likely to just fold your hand and move on to the next hand? Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, if I feel like I also kind of have an internal clock of if I've tanked for long enough that now they're going to have a read off of that. I'm like, okay, it's a close enough spot. I'll just go ahead and fold. I just probably gave away some level of information. Of course, sometimes I'll try to do like somewhat of a reverse tell, like I have the nuts and I look a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I don't overdo that. But
It's tough. Yeah.
what about yourself? Do you?
I
kinda
lean toward also just like giving up my hand.
fold
I feel like I
and
gave
move on.
anything away.
And I don't hate the fold there too. I mean,
I think it's a perfectly fine fold.
yeah. I mean, JWin had half the equity anyway
Mm-hmm.
with this huge draw, and there's a ton of turn cards he's going to hate, and he's going to
Okay, live
you know, the pot was going to be 900 if he called. Now he's going to face a barrel of 650 or so, probably somewhere in the neighborhood.
And this is a spot like, and this is another spot where, in theory, with Queen 10, the solver's gonna probably call a check raise. But also, in theory, JWin is supposed to have hands like King Queen offsuit, King Jack offsuit, hands that can turn the nuts, and like a lot of players, JWin probably does have it in range. He's a very good player. Obviously, he's a coach on pokercoaching.com. But a lot of players there aren't going to raise those hands. Like, they're not going to check raise just hands like that. And even probably the solver picks like air balls too sometimes.
And sometimes he's in horrible shape too. JWin could have a set of 9s there or 2 pair.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so.
Absolutely.
Ace 7-7 on the flop here. Mosquito with the top pair. Barber just keeps getting out flopped by his opponents.
Barber just whiffs again.
Just lets it go. It's kind of been the story of second best for Barber.
Yeah.
Or way behind in that case.
Aggression frequency. So see, we see aggression frequency here around like 20%. I would like to see much higher numbers personally. I think that, like I said, I think it should be somewhere around like 60 and 70%.
Wow.
I think you should be, like, people are just not aggressive enough when they play poker, I think. Like in the example I say with JWin, like, people aren't raising like King Queen offsuit especially with a spade, like, even though they should be. I'm like put the flat in. So
yeah, I'm a little surprised JWin's so low on the stats here. Hopefully they're accurate, but because we've seen him raise Ace-6, we saw him play
I'm surprised,
that suited connector pretty aggressively. So hopefully this is accurate, but
it's probably accurate. Like I said, I think multi-way, I don't know how it affects it too much.
Yeah.
You're generally supposed to do a lot more checking when you go multi-way. So
$20 straddle from Doug. Jackson gets out of the way with the worst hand in poker. Mosquito's going to raise up a connecting 6-5 offsuit.
Kevin putting in a 3-bet here pre-flop with Ace-9. Ace-9 suited. Interesting to see Kevin check here. Against a player like Mosquito Josh who's playing a lot, you generally want to see bet most of your range, or if not all your range.
And I think Mosquito has turned an open ender here. He has.
Yeah, you just don't want to let hands like 6-5 offsuit give him a chance to beat you when you have a pair of aces. In my opinion. So, small bet would have just folded it out on the flop.
Fucking meme season, man.
So what happened? He came back.
And if you bet here with a pair of aces,
What did he say?
There's absolutely zero.
you're going to get called by 4 or 10.
Yeah.
So
With like technical options.
you can always check the turn too if you don't love how strong your aces.
You can see the
Kevin probably not loving the 3 diamonds out there, but it looks like he's carving out a call here. See if Mosquito can get there. He does have 5 outs.
signaling that the stock is going to go up. Like so
I always root for the underdog to get there.
Oh, yeah.
Not this time.
But at the same time, the short flow is not a
10 pairs on the river. Got the lucky 777 pot.
and GameStop are valueless.
I imagine Mosquito Josh is going to put the barrel in here. I mean, he has to. He has 6 high.
Yeah, he can't win if he doesn't bet. I agree with you almost certainly, and I think Kevin's just going to shrug call.
Yeah. What I'd like to see Mosquito Josh do is just go all in here. I think that a lot of players, they like to bet small or like not put their whole stack in when they're trying to get someone to fold bluffs, so they can feel they didn't lose at all.
They're not even microcaps. These are big companies.
And
I think
AMC, I think, is like
Kevin makes a pretty quick call here.
Kevin can sense it. I think he knows.
Nice pot for Kevin. 1,600, almost 17 going his way.
these are not small companies.
top pair and a marginal kicker.
Yeah, Kevin got max value there.
Yeah, he
Hey,
did.
that was a
Yeah.
Trading on game, or on GameStop.
well played by Kevin.
But so then at some point, Roaring Kitty, which is the guy who started this whole thing, he posts a meme that's like it goes from this to like this position. It's just a meme. It's essentially saying, "Holy shit!"
Did you guys get new audio for the table? Because it seems like the audio is a lot clearer than it has been in the past. I can hear the players.
Yeah, it's adjustable, so I think they just tinkered with the some of the settings. But one exciting thing is we'll have a whole new setup at the new TCH Austin. So new table, new equipment, and everything. There will be new camera angles, I'm told, and stuff. So really looking forward to that. That's going to be pretty exciting to see the new setup.
Yeah.
JWin opening deuces. What's your opinion on opening the low pairs in early position? A lot of players like to fold them. A lot of players like to play them.
I like to go ahead and raise them just because I want to build a pot for when I do flop a set.
I agree.
Of course, you hate it if you get 3 or 4 bet or something and you have to fold and you don't even get to see if you can realize your set. But I like to go ahead and try to build a pot just so that and there we go. We bink the deuce. So JWin way ahead here. Unfortunately, nobody with an ace or a queen, so not a lot to get value from.
Yeah, and I imagine it's going to go full. Both these players are pretty snug, I think.
Yeah, it's always so disappointing when you finally flop a set and you really don't get any action. Especially, that's a kind of a gen board for a set because your opponents are going to have aces and queens in their range a very high percentage of the time, and that's going to be dead. There's
frustrated.
Yep. I feel you, JWin.
It's the worst feeling.
Yep.
I don't think people are looking at the company.
You only get that opportunity maybe a couple times a session, so it's always stinks when it doesn't really
People look at the company and
pan
say
out into a big
there's
pot.
illegal shorting, or what should be illegal, and that
Onto a bomb pot.
These companies, these institutional investors, have to exit the company and buy back the shares. Nobody is in GameStop because they think this company that sells physical toys and discs is worth a lot of money. Everybody's just in it based on the thesis that someday these institutional investors are going to have to answer.
$2 billion currently per
AMC.
per game. For AMC.
GameStop is closer to. I don't know what it is now, but it was closer to 10.
AMC $2 billion.
Do you mess with the meme crypto as well?
No, I will.
Oh, God. I got involved with that stuff too.
So I got into this whole like,
Get it?
let me get rich off of options, right?
Yeah.
And here we go to 2 flops. Pot limit Omaha must use 2 cards from your hand. Can use the same 2 cards on both boards if you're not familiar with bomb pots. Everyone antes $10.
Nine check. One check, two check, three check, four check.
Jackson's to the threes. Checks it. No one really has anything other than Jackson to the set of threes.
Did JWin have a wheel? I think takes a moment. The cards load fast on our end, folks. So JWin does not have a wheel.
Figure out what you're doing. Sounds like it's a great tool to make money.
Manny with a flush, not a great one
Doug
for a
with
bomb
better
pot.
flush. Looks like.
Doug with queen high flush.
Which is the nut flush because the king clubs is on the other board, right? So
Yeah, that's actually a common mistake that I see it in 1-2 games. Players don't account for the card removal of the other boards and realize that their queen high flush is actually now the nuts. So that's a good call out for sure. So Doug with the bottom board basically tied up and maintains the nuts and actually improves a 2 pair on the top board, but Manny has Broadway.
Manny does
Or no, he
not
does
have
not have
Broadway.
Broadway. He has 2 pair.
Yeah. If I'm Doug here, I prefer just potting this and just hoping to fold. I mean, you have the nuts. If you're playing against an aggressive opponent, you can check pot this and get a little bit more money in the pot and fold. But I think potting is fine, especially in this spot, because both players can easily have Broadway with a jack and any other card, right? So you're going to get called in 2 spots a lot and win half their money.
Actually, it's funny. Manny actually turned the same royal flush draw he had earlier in in a no limit hand.
That is weird. Yeah. If I'm Manny here, what I'm thinking about is like, what do I lose to here? What do I straight lose to? And you're really only losing to like. It would be really nice if you had the jack of clubs in your hand, right? Because you're blocking the flush and you're blocking the boat. But I think calling here is good.
Yeah.
You have a flush.
Good call.
Yeah. You have 2 pair. If I had 1 pair, I'd maybe fold it. But
Yeah, that's a really close spot for me there. I'm not sure I would call. Not saying I'm right.
no,
you're
it's
probably,
a close spot.
But
close
yeah,
spot.
it's a tough one. I mean, well, especially when you're calling to win only half the pot, like he had basically 0 equity on the other board. So yeah, that's very in between.
We had
Yeah.
one at our table in the
He had
third
2 pair. It counts for a little bit of something. It's just a little bit though.
Yeah,
match.
a little
Like
bit.
3 of them. Yeah, royal.
There's a lot of those. There's a lot of spots in PLO where just having extra 1 or 2% against someone's range can really just make the difference. You have to sometimes, but
I mean, on bond pods it's more common, but in a game, I've only been at it one or 2 times I've seen a roll flip.
Yeah.
also as played, I think that when Doug Potts turn, he just has enough flush a lot, and that's all he's going to have a lot of the time.
Doug probably a little disappointed that he didn't get that one through and win the whole pot.
Yeah.
Oh man,
2 call.
JR limping in with ace 3.
3 call.
Like to see a raise.
4 call. 5 call.
I know a lot of people like to play smaller pots, though. I like to play big pots.
7 fold.
Somebody
8 raise.
King Queen here for Doug.
I like the raise. I think a lot of players here just limp in. They think that King Queen is a strong enough hand, but just a limp, and
80 to call.
it definitely plays better heads up or 3 ways than it does 7 ways.
3 raise.
fucking with me. I'm fucking
We got some crazy stuff going on,
The Mosquito is all in for 350.
and I predict that Doug is going to fold. Is my prediction. Wrong. He just rips it in. I'm clearly not very good at poker here. You know? I'm like, that's bold of him to just rip it in.
That is bold,
That's bold. Is
but
JR
he's
thinking
just
of
trying to
calling here?
isolate it. JR, I mean, he's getting great odds with ace 3 suited. It actually wouldn't be in that bad a shape.
Yeah, I've seen him play. He's a gambler. He likes to gamble. He likes to put it in, I think. I play with him quite a few times. Yeah, there it is.
And he
I
makes the
like it.
call. Wow, 3-way all in with very marginal holdings.
180
For a lot, that's 1K. I
Yeah,
mean,
we've got 2,500 in the middle. Best hand is ace-7 offsuit.
this is why I didn't think Doug would put the money in, because he has JR behind with $1,000, who also could have been trapping. If I'm Doug now, I'm like hating this spot without seeing JR's card. It's like,
Yeah. They do share the ace, so Doug actually a little bit ahead in equity.
320 bet.
Sorry, looks like we have a little technical difficulty, but looks like we're back to the action here. As Uncle T hops in the booth to say hello to a three-way all in, $2,500.
and Doug's one time.
Ace-7, ace-3, and king queen, and ace-7 is gonna
Ace-7's
win.
gonna scoop. At the
Wow.
7 plays against and JR is gonna win the nice side pot with Doug.
The Mosquito getting it done. That's a good way to get out of a hole.
He deserves it after the cooler in the first hand in the PLO.
And actually, JR will win a decent side pot against Doug. So Mosquito's back in business here.
You won?
Yep, weighed it perfectly. I had a better ace side than his ace side.
Nice.
Not that hard to beat my
How much are you at now? What's the max?
What was your hand?
Technique 7. The suited or no? The 7 barely played.
30 what? 3,200. 250. what? Is the total stat. Is the big stat. 3250 is the big stat.
So big winner so far is Jackson. He's up 1.3K. Manny up about 600. Kevin Y right behind him.
About a 1,000.
Barbara, unfortunately, it's been the story of second best tonight, but has time to turn it around. We're not even quite halfway done here. Thanks, everybody, for joining us so far. We'll go till 10 o'clock Central. Usually around 100 hands, 90 to 100 hands, so well on our way here. Manny wakes up with the jiggities. No right way to play him. James, what's your least favorite premium hand to play?
8 raise 100.
Premium? I get into a lot of trouble with Doug's hand, ace jack suited, if you consider that a premium.
That's right on the edge. Yeah, I'll get ace jack suited.
Ace,
yeah.
Ace queen off gets you into trouble a lot. Gets me into trouble.
Ace queen off.
Ace queen off.
Yeah, that's on the list for me as well.
Yeah, jacks can be tough. It's really tough to play jacks, but when you learn how to play them well, you can kind of like minimize your variance a little bit.
Did Manny fold the jacks? I think he did.
He did. I told you, I think Manny's a very tight player.
Well, I guess he's glad because Doug has flopped the nut flush
and
casually
unfortunate
checks.
for Doug.
But, yeah, interesting fold there. JR does have a pair of eights. Downgraded to second pair with the king on the turn.
JR folds. That's so unfortunate for Doug.
Yeah.
I can't believe Manny folded
I
jacks.
can't believe he folded the jacks. Yeah. So
He must be one of those
maybe he
hands
heard
he's
me say no right way to play him, or he knew that Doug was going to flop the nuts. But, yeah, pretty snug fold.
5 and 10.
To be fair, my experience with Doug, I think, is he has a little tight pre-flop a little bit sometimes, I think. I think he likes to, he just likes to play tight pre-flop, I think. Make big hands and play. Which is not wrong, by the way. They say tight is right, so.
Tight is right, yeah. Barber here finally with a premium ace king offsuit.
4 raise 65. 5 fold.
He'll raise it up from under the gun, essentially, with the
Maybe
straddle.
with tens. We'll see if he decides to fold tens. No, I guess not.
Yeah, Manny's gone back-to-back. Jack's now tens. It looks like he's going to play the tens. Just makes the call in position.
Too much in, I think. He raised.
Oh, he did raise. Pardon me.
Interesting.
Still
So
kind of a pretty small raise.
Yeah.
110.
Barely a legal raise. Actually, it's the minimum raise, I think.
And Kevin actually just folded pocket fours. Didn't choose to set mine there. I'm a little surprised for just 110.
I'm fine with folding fours, I think. With Barber behind, you got to worry about Barber doing what he just did.
Yeah, he would have been out his 110 bucks.
I imagine Manny's going to fold tens. If he folded jacks to a 3-bet, he's got to fold tens to a 4-bet. Right?
You would think, or maybe he's like, well, I'm done folding. I'm going to take a stand here. Yeah, he's getting more pressure now with a pip worst hand. Wants to see how much Barber has. He's got about 1,000 behind after the 4-bet.
I think against Barber, this is best case scenario for tens, though. So. Personally, if I have tens here, I actually might let them go. It's close.
I'm folding tens here.
I think against most players, I'm just folding tens.
Yeah, I mean, you're either dominated by an overpair or flipping, which would be the case here, which would be best case scenario, most likely.
You have to hope that you're against a player who will 3-bet or 4-bet ace 10 suited, ace 5 suited, ace 4 suited, and not a lot of players are willing to put in the 4-bet with those kinds of hands, I think.
Yeah. And Barber's a solid player, but I've seen him play on stream quite a bit, and he's not doing this with ace 5 or those types of hands. And Manny just flats.
If you're going to play tens, I'm fine with flatting him, I think. And then if an ace comes on the board, you just fold.
Yeah.
Or a king comes, fold.
Mosquito gets out of there. Off to a flop. Barber binks the ace, has top pair, top kicker now. And Manny's, see if he plays it slow. He's kind of got this board locked up, really.
Yeah, you can bet really, really small here. I don't personally
just
like
rips
jam,
it.
but
Yeah, I think ripping it is a little bit of an overplay.
yeah,
You're just reducing the likelihood of you get value from worse hands.
and it's hard like to have bluffs here when you're Barber. Like, what are your bluffs?
Yeah.
Like spades. It's not a lot of hands, right? So if you
Yeah.
and you have to have had 4-bet king, queen of spades pre-flop, king, jack of spades, and those hands just don't 4-bet. So
Manny's getting 3-1.
yeah, I mean, if you're Manny, you're just losing to everything now.
Yeah, you're losing to everything now.
I can't think of a single hand
Yeah.
that you're beating.
Yeah,
So
this is.
in my mind.
I completely agree. This would be an insta-muck for me, but it looks like he's considering it.
He's actually considering it.
I think he may have already said call. No,
No,
not
I
just
don't
yet.
think he said call. Even and especially with the spade in your hand, it's even worse, right? Because like you're hoping Barber has spades on some whim, even though I don't think it's really a possibility. That's
Yeah,
like the
is
one
there-
thing you can hang on to. So
Yeah, is there a world where Barber did this with king, queen of spades, or?
yeah,
But no, I completely agree with you. You're losing to everything now. This is.
the preferred way to play this would be to bet with this stack the pot on the flop, being very small. The preferred way to play this would be to bet extremely small on the flop. You want to go like 150, and then like 150 on the flop, 250 on most turns, and just put the remaining like 400 on the river.
Yeah, I mean when you just jam there, the only thing that's really well, we'll see what Manny does, but most likely thing to call you is pocket eights, and you're dead.
Pocket eights,
or
ace queen suited.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, there's not a lot.
So as played, Barber will take a nice profit there, wins a $2,000 pot.
Finally not second best for Barber.
Finally not. Yeah, he deserved that one. That'll get him on his way out of the hole. Yeah, would have liked to see him get a little more value there, but still a very nice pot.
It's okay, and it seems that, maybe Barber knows something we don't about Manny, and because Manny I think he was actually considering calling the 10, so maybe he thought he might get Manny to call queens or kings, get sticky with it.
Maybe you can get him to call light sometimes.
Yeah. Some players, they just don't like to fold big players.
It was very interesting back-to-back hands. The jacks go straight into the muck and then plays a big pot with tens the very next hand.
Tens,
yeah. Barber now with another hand. He lets it go. Ace-10 is in early position, so don't hate the fold.
Oh, I think that's fine. Kevin folding king-8 suited. I personally probably would have raised king-8 suited.
9 raised.
Ace-3 suited. Standard open from JWin, I think, on the button.
With the new sexiest hands in poker, the small suited aces.
Yep. Go crazy.
Is ahead here. Mosquito in there with 7-4. Expect him to outflop everyone. Does not. 9-9-5. Nobody connecting.
We haven't really seen a cooler yet tonight. Kind of want to see.
Yeah, closest thing was, I guess, the flush over flush Barber versus Manny. But as you said, he kind of ran good when Manny didn't jam the river. So
yeah, and then the first PLO pot was a cooler.
Yeah.
Mosquito Josh. That's really been it. Manny betting king-8 offsuit. I wonder if he's a little steamed from the previous hand with tens. Seems like.
Possibly. JWin got there with a pair of aces on the turn, so he's got this one locked up. See how much value he goes for on the river here. I assume he's going to bet. What
Yeah,
would you go? What would your sizing be?
Showdown.
He
I
just
think
checks it back.
I think check's fine too.
I
Go
think check's
multi-way.
fine too. I would be in between. You know, that's actually going back to things you work on in your own game. Going for thin value on rivers with a marginal hand like that. He does have top pair, but no kicker. You're losing to all the nines.
Yeah, I forget the pre-flop action, but I think JWin, if he's going to bet here, I think he should go like pretty large personally, because you want to try to get an ace to fold. Because you're the pre-flop aggressor, you have ace queen, ace king. They don't. You have ace jack probably, and they probably don't as much as you do. And so you want to go big so you can get max value when you have ace king, ace queen, ace jack, and then put your opponent in a tough spot when they have an ace themselves. And they know they're only calling for a chop. So I like to go big personally.
I got it.
And as played, I don't think it's likely your opponent's going to have trip nines there. So I like to just go big personally, knowing that you're pretty much always ahead.
6 raise, 25. 7 fold, 8 fold.
Manny going to raise up the ace-3 off. JWin with another suited ace, a little bit better this time, ace-9.
I think Manny's steaming a little bit. I mean,
I think he might be, yeah.
He was very timid. For
made a tight fold with the jacks, gotten himself in a tough spot with the tens. I think
and
so.
now he's raising ace-3 off. So
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like. Yeah. Okay.
So speaking of Manny and his neighbor there, Kevin, with sunglasses on, what's your feeling about sunglasses at the poker table?
I personally think it's kind of bad for the game. But I'm being a little hypocritical because I know I have tells in my mouth area, and so I cover my mouth when I'm in hands with my hoodie a lot of the time. I try not to do it on stream because, again, I think it's kind of bad for the game to be all serious and like, talk and stuff. But I think it's a player's right to do that if they want. But I personally don't like it. How about you?
I wish there was, and we've got top pair here for JR on the turn, so pair of kings is going to be the best hand. I agree with everything you just said. I've personally done it if I'm playing at a place that has brighter lights. I just find it to be like more relaxing.
Okay.
So it's actually more about that and less about like hiding tells, I guess.
See, I've never had to deal with that.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of wish there was just a rule, no sunglasses. Then I would be all on board with that.
Okay.
But I have worn them myself. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just don't really. To me, it seems unwelcoming. People who wear sunglasses, I think, usually like they don't like to talk, they're reserved, and I just don't really like that. I'm someone who personally likes to like chat at the table, try to make it a better experience for everyone who's there.
Yeah.
Not just my least. I used to do it. My least favorite player is the one who puts the hoodie up, headphones on, glasses on, doesn't say anything the whole time, you know, and just plays the game. And you know, like they're a pro and just there to try to squeeze some dollars out. Like to me, like that's not fun to play.
That person always has a backpack.
Yeah, exactly. That's
the
thing I
backpack,
stopped
hoodie,
doing.
sunglasses guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I stopped bringing a backpack.
And earphones. Yeah. I did. I don't use. I like the social aspect of poker, like you mentioned, as well. I did get caught in a situation where I was next to an extremely irritating player in a tournament.
What were they doing?
Fortunately, it doesn't happen here a lot at TCH, but so don't want to discourage anyone. It's rare, but I finally did buy some just little earphones for those occasions if I have an insufferable table
If someone
mate.
like me is at your table and just yapping.
Well, it
24/7,
wouldn't be a person like you, but no, it was. So I kind of have them in my repertoire if needed, but for the most part, I like to be social and talk to the folks at the table.
Yeah,
and you can pick up things, you know, hearing people talk, you can kind of figure out if they're tilted or if they think, oh, they're unlucky, or, you know, all those little bits of information I feel like you can kind of apply.
For sure, you can kind of get a feel for someone's like personality, and I do think personalities in real life generally translate to the game as well.
Yeah. Yeah, if I hear someone say, oh, I've been running bad, I'm really unlucky, or, you know, something like that, or they just kind of have a generally negative attitude. I'm kind of think, oh, this is going to be a person that can be, you know, easily bluffed usually.
And I think you're right about that. I agree with that.
When the scare card comes on the turn and you bet it, they sigh and go, oh, of course you hit the flush. You
For
know?
sure, exactly. That's
Yeah.
that's exactly what I think. I heard Daniel Negreanu say that one day. Like you can like convince someone who already thinks they're unlucky that they're just unlucky. Like,
Right.
You just keep perpetuating the same idea, and you can like, exploit that. So.
Yeah, always trying to pick up information. I think that's also one of the keys. I'm sure you do it, especially the way you described your kind of habits at the table. But there's information to be picked up from all the hands you're not involved in, too. I think the people that just kind of shut down or watch the TV or what have you, they're missing out on a lot of things that
I agree with
might
that.
be really important to know when they end up in a close spot.
Yeah, and I found myself personally playing worse in a session when I'm just scrolling through Facebook or whatever because I'm bored and no one's chatting versus me being actively engaged in the game.
Yeah.
It's his fault.
So we're going to have a little bit of a technical difficulty here. So on hand 41, so we'll just have the overhead view here and kind of follow along with the action, but things will be back up for hand 42. Just letting all the viewers know.
So like that one spot is just worth so much money.
Although we are loading cards so far. Okay, I'm told about halfway through the hand we'll lose that view.
It's so fun to watch a friend in a tournament. It's like every one person that gets eliminated. Yeah, it's so much money, you know?
Fortunately, it's not aces versus kings. We've got a lot of junk here.
Yeah, I mean, junk pre-flop isn't necessarily junk post-flop. So we'll see.
We do have the first robbery sighting. We got the Jack 4 for Manny.
I think, if I remember right, everyone will.
Nobody with diamonds. King high flop. Nobody with the king.
JWin with the best hand doesn't know it, obviously.
Eight of spades on the turn.
Only because 8 is my least favorite number.
JWin's pair of sevens are still good.
$10 bet, very small bet from JR. Kind of thin field. One of those, I guess, like probe bets, just see where you're at. You know?
Yeah.
Just see if anyone has anything.
I've noticed JWin will do that occasionally as well. I've never done that personally, the teeny tiny min bet, but I need to maybe just discuss with someone how to maybe add that to my repertoire. Queen on the river. JWin's still good with his pair of sevens. And he will win the pot. And we're on to hand 42. Right at 2 hours in, about halfway through. Thanks everybody for joining us so far. We'll be with you till 10 Central here at Texas Card House Austin. Playing 2-5 with the occasional bomb pot. Got the bomb pot coming up right now.
If you're still in the chat with us, leave a comment. Hasn't been much chat recently. Going to two flops here. Maybe we'll see queens over tens here. Pocket queens over pocket tens. It'll be a pretty sick one. Jackson flopping what in my opinion is a huge hand. Top two pair on both. Oh, he has a straight up top. He has a straight with a backdoor flush draw on both and two pair on the other one. This is a monster hand. As you can see at home, he is a favorite on both against everybody. Yeah, bar with a pair of tens. Just gotta let that go. I think this is just going to fold through. Yep. The problem is, too, is like when you hit the flop that hard,
You had too much?
it's hard to get called because he had so, yeah, he has so much. Yeah, too much.
Yeah, kind of all of it.
Must be.
That's this. You're gonna be the big blind
Biggest
man.
Jackson fan you'll
Straddle 20.
find.
Live 20.
I haven't seen Jackson before. Do you know, where does he usually play, Kelly? I've played a lot around the Austin area, and I haven't run into him yet. And I must say, Jackson seems to be a very, very good player. Very solid. I think he's played perfectly tonight, actually. JWin here with Ace King. We have a double straddle on.
50. 1 fold. 2 fold.
He opens to 50. Mosquito Josh with King Jack.
50 is the bet.
Put the call in. Steady Eddie. It's been kind of quiet tonight, I think. Puts the call in.
Yes, sir.
Kevin's asking if Ace King is a raise. I imagine it's going to make him less likely to squeeze here. I put money with 7-8. A little surprising to see the fold with 7-8. I do like it though. I like the fold.
Lock it in.
3 players.
See a king on the flop. Everybody misses. Kevin actually would have hit the flop pretty hard. And checks through. See if anyone wants to stab at this. I think Mosquito Josh might. Nope.
Bluff catcher. Got it.
Mosquito Josh makes a pair of jacks on the river. Interesting to see if JWin's going to bluff at this, especially. I guess JWin's going first. Interesting. I can see JWin taking a stab here with the flush blocker.
On the front, but it's
Ace King is just losing a lot to like pairs and stuff. It's not that good by the river. Mosquito Josh, I imagine he's going to call. Looks like he might let it go. Yeah. Good call by Mosquito Josh.
5.
And JWin says flush and says just
More than a
kidding.
bluff catcher. It's the nuts.
Thank you very much. You had the small blind.
Why was that one not the other one?
520.
Going to another hand, 2, 5, 10, 20. We had the 40 on there a couple times in the beginning, and it doesn't seem like it's been happening too much. As I'm saying that, Jackson puts the 40 on. We'd love to see, and we have an 80 from JR. Let's go. This is action. Josh doesn't seem to want to put the 160 on. You can't blame him. It's a lot of money to put in blind.
Half blind. 3 call.
He put a blind call in, and he has a pretty good hand, King Queen. That's pretty lucky for him.
Wait, no, sorry.
Did you like the pump fake?
He
I've
pump
been
faked
watching
me.
a lot of NBA play out.
Pump faked me.
That Kyrie would have done that.
4 fold. 5 fold.
Chat, what's your opinion on straddling? Do you like to straddle? Does it depend on what the table's doing? What's your opinion?
7 fold. 8 fold.
Unfortunately, no one in this big pot really has much. I imagine JWin's going to ISO the ace-10 suited here, raise it up against Manny, who limped, and Josh. I'm guessing he's going to go to like 400 here. We'll see. Or 350 or 400. Just thinking about it, thinking about it.
Dying raise. 225.
Makes it 220. Irish think that's a little small, but
30,
think you want to try to get some folds,
Actually, 29.
especially against Manny. Manny's probably going to call a lot. And Jackson putting in the call here with fives. Interesting call. I don't hate it. You can set mine. JWin and him are definitely deep enough. But you do have to worry about someone like Mosquito Josh who only has 1,000, like limp jamming behind, which he might do. Mosquito Josh might just put it in with King Queen here. JR, you can tell he wants to put the money in. He's a gambler. I know he loves the C flops. He's really thinking about it.
Oh, juicy.
Puts it in.
Oh!
Let's see. And Mosquito Josh goes all in. That's what I expected. See, that's the problem Jackson's going to deal with, is when you call fives now, like, are you going to call a jam with fives? Probably not.
It's been done already.
Tough spot to play. Manny's got to just fold his hand, I think. I think he really...
You called it.
I think he really wants to just like win a nice pot here.
Just filthy.
But Jack 10, it's just too weak of a hand. Interesting to see what JWin's going to do. I could see JWin doing all three. I could see him calling, folding, ripping it in. I don't hate any of them. It's tough when you have Jackson behind with 3K. Because Jackson can have like 10s, jacks, 9s. It's tough. And JWin goes all in. Yep, Jackson gonna give it up. JR's got to fold.
I was most worried about you.
I will always do the action. Whatever you want, man. Whatever you want.
Going twice? Two times.
Say 3 times? 2 times. Okay. You're not doing 3. Yeah, twice. I was going to say, you guys keep Broadway cards. Thinking about still calling, but show it. I called you.
I think Mosquito Josh gonna win twice.
Oh, I get there.
No, he didn't get there. Okay.
King or queen?
And that's unfortunate for Mosquito Josh. It's unfortunate.
Nice hand.
Can't blame him. I like Mosquito Josh's play. It didn't work out for him, but I like the jam. I like the jam. There's a lot of dead money in there, and his stack is perfect, I think, for just getting it in and just what we call like running the equity. Just hoping he gets there versus a hand.
Like you're you chop that.
But I wouldn't have.
I will say that with the full one, and Kevin will probably resonate with this as well. But like,
Oh,
just like these
yeah,
unique
no,
spots in
that's
like
good.
where there's like a 4th of the Straddle line. Playing 20.
How much are you gonna bet?
Even if I am.
Players checks, live stream. 2,000 behind seat 3. 2,000.
Thank you all for joining us tonight at TCH in Austin. We're playing 2-5, but tonight it seems like it is 2, 5, 10, 20, 40, 80 sometimes.
Straddle, please.
They win. That's good stuff.
2,000 behind seat 3. 2,000 behind seat 3.
I mean, if
Kyle's
I just
back.
call it and then it's like,
Good to be back with you. Thanks for
missed an
the
action hand.
quick break.
Yeah. You missed, we had to be at 2, 5, 10, 20, 40, 80 last time.
Oh, wow.
And Mosquito Josh put in the blind call.
Incredible. That sounds very Mosquito Josh-like.
Yeah, and Mosquito Josh got it all in versus JWin.
3 raised, 150.
Mosquito here with the pocket 10s, a.k.a. tanks.
I've never heard that before. Tanks.
Tanks, yeah.
Like 7 or 8.
Tends to be called tanks. I like it.
17 or 18.
I'm not sure why. But
I don't know.
I
either.
I
Is
wasn't
it
the
because
creator.
You do a lot of tanking with 10s pre-flop
Maybe
generally?
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually a really strong theory. Got to tank with the 10s, as Manny did earlier.
Probably in the 30, 40s, 30 or 40s? 30s.
Queen high flop, 9-7, rainbow.
28.
Pair of 9s for Jackson, still behind Mosquito's 10s.
You're below average.
You think so?
I think it went raise and then Mosquito Josh 3-bet and then Jackson called.
Probably an average.
You're lower than your
Here,
Are you in the
I like just calling. Can't really do anything else, I think.
Yeah, I think you got a flat here.
Early.
Unfortunately, no backdoor spades.
Oh,
Ooh, it gets there immediately. Trip nines for Jackson. Quick check. And Mosquito does not fall into the trap. Checks back.
That's a spot where I personally, a lot of people don't like the donk bet. They call it the donk bet because they think it's a donkey
Stigma
play, right? Yeah, it's
attached
stigma.
to it. Yeah.
I think Jackson actually maybe could have thrown a donk bet in there maybe.
Yeah, I agree. I typically don't do it. There's just a few spots. Do you donk bet?
I've started doing
just
it a
when
lot
you think
more.
it's right.
I think
Yeah.
I think a lot of times when the middle card pairs, because like when your opponent bets, they're betting a lot of top pair and they're checking most of their middle pair. And so when the middle, but you're calling a lot of middle pair on the flop, and so when it turns, trips on the turn, the middle pair, or turns two,
Only chance is if he busts right now.
for that middle card on the flop, you're going to have a lot more trips than they do. So I like to start betting. Like I might bet
Oh, if he wins.
my 9x here, but then I might bet like my Jack 10, my 10-8.
Yeah.
That were bluffs, you know?
Yeah, that's incorrect.
Looks like Jackson did decide to lead the river and then Mosquito Josh called.
Yeah, call for Mosquito. The shrug call. You could see on his face he didn't love it. And unfortunately, was shown the bad news there. Winners Jackson and JWin up 1.8K. Kevin in the green along with Steady Eddie, JR.
Unfortunately, a rough night for Mosquito, Josh, and Barber so far.
Yeah,
They've just
Mosquito
been
was
running into it.
on the comeback after that triple up, but that hand didn't help. But if there's one player I would pick that could spin it up the quickest, it's probably Mosquito Josh. So we've got a couple hours left. We'll see what he can do.
My point was just more that, like, the variability is not the percentage.
Well, I can't.
My wife has succumbed to the gamble all now.
Wow,
I love everyone gambles all.
She's a part of the fold now.
She's falling into the trap.
Yeah, I love it.
Are the points good for anything? I don't even know. Or are they just like, just like showing like how much of a fan you are?
Don't know if they can be used for anything that I'm aware of.
Okay.
They verified by producer Mel cannot be used. They're fun. Oh, I'm sorry. That's Kristen. Kristen hopped in for Mel. Kristen was in the box dealing earlier. She is now back here with us. But yeah, verified. They're just for fun, I guess.
Yeah, I'd love to see some type of comp system or something. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. It's tough. Yeah.
So ace jack for JWin. He's going to flop a gutter. Doug with
flops
a big
crazy
draw.
hand.
Has the spades to go with a pair of tens, as well as a gutter.
And this might sound crazy here. If I'm Doug, this is a hand I'm considering just open ripping on the flop or potentially.
Yeah, I mean
With
you've got
the stacks. I guess with JWin has a lot of money, but with Mosquito Josh, I'm fine. I'd be fine.
yeah with
putting in
Mosquito
the
just put it in, but yeah, it'd be a
run
pretty.
equity.
Yeah, he just came and got me.
JWin enjoying what appears to be fajitas.
And is Doug putting the raise in here? I think he did.
You weren't the first up, that's why we had seen it.
Doug doing the hoodie neck mouth cover.
Yeah, that's my signature move now too.
Yeah, I had noticed that about you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what tell do you think you give away?
I shouldn't say it on stream, but
Okay.
I will.
For the viewers,
yeah,
just
yeah.
James.
Yeah, when I make a big hand, my lip curls.
Oh, okay.
I get a tinge of a smile.
And you can't suppress it?
I can't suppress. I've tried
Wow.
for years, and so I just have to cover my mouth.
Yeah.
At least post flop, I have to cover my mouth because
Interesting.
Yeah. I can't help it. And also, it's easier for me because I think it's a more relaxed position than trying to sit up. I like to put my elbow on the table
Right.
and cover my
Yeah.
mouth. So it's easier for me to stay calm if I'm bluffing. Whereas if I'm upright, I think I start breathing
Right,
heavier when I'm
right.
bluffing. Or have a huge hand.
I've worked really hard to try to be able to regulate my breathing.
Yeah,
you know,
have you found
big-
success with that?
I'm sorry?
You found success with that, like regulating?
To some extent. I've gotten better at it, I will say.
Okay.
But not, yeah, but, you know, it's a physical reaction to an adrenaline release.
Yeah,
so there's
exactly.
really nothing you can, your heart rate spikes.
Mosquito Josh here putting it in with Jack 9, backdoor flush draw. One
Technically,
time.
not,
And that's
well,
gonna
no,
turn him
and
dead.
Doug gets there immediately. 2,700 headed his way, 2,800 almost. Nice win for Doug. It's always great when you get there instantly. Always feels like it's the hard way on the river card. Mosquito still running into some bad luck here.
That is my time, everyone. You guys got Asa coming in for a dealer change bomb pot.
Has been a little speculative, but you watch. Mosquito will make a big hand later and get paid off.
How much are you gonna
I've seen it happen many a times. I don't doubt it could happen tonight.
give me 1,500 behind?
Yeah, I think within the last 5 times I've played with Mosquito, I saw him. We sat down to a 1-3 table at about the same time, and he spun 1,000 up to 5,500 in what felt like 20 minutes. So
I'm
he's-
telling you, I've seen the same
Yeah.
thing before with Mosquito, basically. So.
Is Preston still in it?
No, I think Preston was like 6 or 7.
Wow, that's good on him.
Oh yeah, that was your last trade, I remember.
Who at this table would you say would be your least favorite player to play against because of their like skill level? Like, who would give you the toughest time, you think?
So I'm going to ask you the same question in a second, but it's between 2 players, probably. Between JWin and Kevin, I think.
Okay.
What about you?
I actually, from what I've seen from Jackson so
Actually,
far,
you know,
Jackson
I
is
didn't
incredibly
really
good.
consider him. What I've seen so far, yeah, he might be that
He's
too.
really solid.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to play against Jackson. JWin's obviously a really good player. It's tough to play against Kevin as well. I think so. I'm with you on the Kevin JWin. I think for sure. Definitely people who, when I show up to this game personally, I'm not thrilled when I
Right.
see them at the table. Yeah, that I'm going to be playing against them.
You know, actually, it's funny because it's almost exactly the same seating arrangement, but one time I was here and I was not commentating, and they said, hey, seat open on the live stream, you want to go take it? And it was seat 5 with exactly Kevin, Doug, JWin to your left.
Oh,
and I
yeah,
said,
no, that's
I'm not going to put myself through that for a couple hours. I'll
Right.
just, yeah.
It's a bomb pot. I feel like we just played
Yep,
one. but
onto
hey,
a
we got
bomb
another
pot.
Doug with middle set here. I like this bet.
1,500 back. C3, 1,500 back.
Obviously, you have to worry about. It looks like we might have a misread here. We got 2 jacks of spades on the boards. So can't see what the other jack is on the bottom. Looks like there's a jack of spades up top. But okay, so it's 6, 5, 6 on the bottom.
So trip 6s for Mosquito.
Yes.
Who had a jack? Did we have a player with a jack? We do not.
They might have folded pre-flop.
But Doug does have a boat.
Yeah. Mosquito Josh with a boat on the bottom, actually. Not just trip 6s. He flopped it.
Oh, yeah, he does have the friend of the 6.
Yeah. Now, if I'm Barber here, this is or Doug here, this is a very interesting spot. I don't know what I want to do here.
I kind of like what he did. He didn't go full pot. It's 3 ways, so he's going to try to get a little more money in the middle before presumably potting the river.
Yeah.
Be my guess.
The tough part here is that, like, if my card like Doug has 7763. If I have 776, like 8, 9, 10 Jack, it's a little better because I can make a better boat against Mosquito Josh if he has 6-5. Someone's gonna have 6-5 a lot, so you can scoop a lot more frequently. But it's very dangerous when you bet this turn, because like if you get trip jacks and trip sixes to call, you can get scooped a lot.
Yeah.
If you're Doug, you could already be dead on top to Jack 7 or Jack 3, too. So.
Yeah, agreed. So Barber got out of the way, and Doug and Mosquito will chop this one up. Little profit for each player. So a fun question I like to ask in the booth is, what are your pet peeves at the table?
I picked up a king on top just in case the bottom.
One thing really bothers me. It's not related to like the play of the game at all. But if someone is at the table, and it's been happening to me more and more frequently, I don't know what it is, but someone sitting next to me just chewing with their mouth open. Like eating food, it drives me insane. Like I had a guy eating jerky the other day, just smacking. And he finished bag. I was so thankful he bought a second bag right afterwards, just smacking his lips the whole time. And like I just think it's like gross. You're getting like spit on the chips on the table probably.
Yeah.
The sound.
I agree. So for the viewers, if you find yourself at the table with just James and you want to tilt him, chew with your mouth open. That's
a way to get me off the table. If you want to get me off the table, is chew with your mouth open.
That's the beauty of cash games is you can move the not so fun table made in the tournament is tough because you're stuck at your seat.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I have any other pet peeves at the poker table. Nothing really bothers me. Even like people hitting and running, it doesn't bother me. I think it's like the right as a player to do that.
I was coming off that.
There's been times where I've hit and run in games, sad to say, just because I win like a huge three-way pot in a big game, and I'm not comfortable playing
that
$10,000 or $15,000 deep. So there's no shame in it, I think, and I understand that not everyone has a ton of money.
Do you play another orbit and leave, or do you?
Yeah, I finished the orbit, maybe play a second.
Yeah. Well, I'd consider that not hitting and running, though, because I think I always try. So when I'm in that situation, I just try to think, you're the one that's excited that just won the big pot. Everybody's kind of forgotten that you won the big pot. They're worried about themselves after maybe 15, 20 minutes, which a couple orbits is. So I kind of just try to wait until everybody's like probably just forgotten.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you have any pet peeves at the poker table?
Yeah. So smacking would bother me as well. I've never thought about that one. I guess I've been lucky.
Sometimes it's so loud in the room you can't hear it, but when it's like quiet,
Yeah, somebody, anybody that's rude to a dealer, like
I agree with that
folds their
too.
cards in and throws them basically at the dealer, or maybe even hits the dealer. I've seen that happen. That's definitely a big pet peeve.
Yeah. Just all you at home, it's not the dealer's fault if you get like
It's never the dealer's fault.
It's not the dealer's fault.
Ever.
The dealer does not determine the cards.
We're confirmed by Mel. She also deals and produces the show in the background here. And she and she is telling a story of that exact thing happening yesterday, so she concurs. So message is, you shouldn't have things thrown at you when you're at work, and that includes poker dealers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that type of player is just very, very unpleasant to have at the table.
The other one is the person that is sort of semi-invading your space between the cup holders.
Oh, yeah,
so you feel like you're fighting for every inch so that you can just be completely comfortable.
Yeah.
That's obviously annoying. And you can ask the dealer to square the table, but if you've got somebody, there's people that just don't quite get it. That would be one.
I've run into that like quite a bit in Las Colinas, actually.
Yeah.
Where like there's a couple people. Usually, in my experience, it's just massive whales, and they just like don't care.
Yeah.
They know that like they know they can do whatever they want, and players will tolerate it, and so they just like spread out or take do whatever they want at the table, and you can ask for square up 2 or 3 times, and they'll move a hair,
Yeah.
to make it look like they squared up. That's a good one. Something I like about the stream table, a lot of people at home probably don't know, the stream table is a lot larger than your standard poker table, and so you get a lot more room when you're playing. That's one of the benefits of playing on stream.
Yeah, at the stream, the pet peeve I just mentioned has never happened to me playing on stream for sure. And typically the stream players are going to be more experienced players that are of the same mindset generally. That
Yeah, they're bigger games.
Yeah.
Right?
So we got a flush flopped here for Mosquito Josh with 7-6 suited. So
yeah, unfortunately for him, it doesn't look like anyone really has much.
yeah, Manny's been playing a little snug, but he does have top pair and middle pair for JWin, but not a very good flop for King 7 really if you flop a pair, and he gets rid of it. So Mosquito and Manny to a turn here. 3 of clubs. Changes nothing, basically a brick. Mosquito will keep betting. Mosquito with a very loose table image, so Manny may think his top pair is good here, and justifiably so. Mosquito goes pretty small. We'll get the call. 9 on the river. 9 of hearts, so changes nothing once again. 6 would have been pretty rough for Manny if he'd improved.
Yeah, Manny just snaps it off basically.
Yeah.
Can't blame him against Mosquito Josh.
And there's a perfect example. Mosquito wins a $1,200 pot with a flop flush, just betting it the whole way.
By the way, if you are interested in playing on stream at TCH, either in Las Colinas or Austin, go to tch.com,
TexasCardHouse.com, and there's a link there for a sign up.
Always love to see new players in the game.
Yep.
Makes the stream much more enjoyable.
Jackson, one example today.
Yes.
Don't believe he's been on stream before, so good to have him. And he's actually paying off for him. He's up almost 2K or so. 1,700 and change. We got a new player in seat 5.
Saw him on the final table. He wins it.
I don't know if I've played with seat 5 before. He looks kind of familiar. I think I played with him a long time ago, maybe.
Yeah, I don't believe I've ever played with him or seen him on stream, at least when I was calling it, so good to have him join the game here. Nine deuce deuce on this flop, connects with Manny. Manny's got top pair.
In the $600 one, Kevin, when he busted, were you there for that one? That was what you were there for?
Yeah, he was pretty loud about it.
Yes.
King on the turn, changes nothing, but JR is going to lead out with 6-3 and a dream. Manny can't love the king, has now proved a second pair. Or I should say, digress to second pair. Deuce on the river, now boat for Manny. Only really loses to a king or a deuce. But JR is going to keep firing here, putting the pressure on Manny. Goes about 3/4 pot. Manny really just trying to decide if JR has a king here.
Scroll my page and then scroll my page.
Talking about the one stream you played there?
think he'll find the call here. Is shaking his head. He makes the call. Nice pot there for Manny. It's going to win about a 1K profit.
It's not easy.
Not easy, right?
No, not easy. Not when the king came out and he let out. On the turn. The check the flop. Not the flop.
I'm bad. Pretty bad with names. He's like easy to remember name, man. What's that? It's been a while. Since then you've tried and you've denied, but you just gotta bang on that door.
Ryan here with the ace jack. Suited king queen for JWin. He will raise it up. Makes it 100. Jackson's going to call with a suited ace 9. So it looks like we'll go 2 ways to a flop. JWin and Jackson. Almost an even flip. And Jackson's going to flop the nut flush draw. JWin with just king high here. Needs to improve. 10 on the turn. Not a club. JWin's going to check. See what Jackson does. It looks like he's going to put a semi-bluff out there.
Yeah, I definitely like betting this hand here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Build the pot for when you make your hand. You get hands like
or
ace,
just
queen,
win
ace,
right
jack,
now.
fold. Yeah, there you go. Why let JWin try to catch up with the king and queen here?
Yeah, nice play by Jackson. Playing really solidly. So the other topic of conversation that's kind of fun is what's your favorite trash hand?
So I have a favorite hand because I like ran really hot with it when I was like a kid. It's 10-3 offsuit. Not
Oh
suit,
wow! Okay.
Offsuit. I don't play it because I know it's terrible.
Right.
But if I play in like if I'm playing like a home game or a private game or maybe like 1-2 for me, that's kind of like
You'll play the 10-3.
relaxed stakes. Yeah, I'll play it like for just the fun of it. To get to show
Yeah,
a trash
yeah.
hand. How about you? Do you have a favorite trash hand?
I have one, arguably two. So 9-7 suited. Not complete trash.
Not complete trash,
You
but-
one up me big time with 10-3 offsuit.
Well, I never said I played it that much.
Yeah. 9-7, and then it's not a trash hand, but I'll get a little stickier pre-flop with pocket fours. I feel like I flop a lot of sets with fours, and 4-4-4 is kind of my personal lucky number.
Okay.
So it feels a little better when I
Yeah.
make that particular hand. But
I hear a lot of people say they like fives. They feel like fives are set magnets.
yeah, I think there's I know. I can't remember which poker friend it is, but yeah, they like fives. They feel like it's a set magnet.
Yeah.
So Manny's going to flop a flush draw here and bet it.
I actually called JWin, it looks like.
Oh, call, okay. And gets there immediately.
And unfortunately, JWin, that's the best card for him, too. So.
Yeah, JWin's going to improve to second pair here with a pair of kings. Kicker problem says King 5 is the nuts.
I like King 5 suited.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
you could argue for King 5 suited. I'll play that.
I like King 6 a little more, but King 5's a good one.
So to a river card, it's going to be the 9 of spades. Does not change either player's hand. Manny so way in front, actually with the check mark here with his flush. Trying to decide how much value to go for.
Now with JWin's hand here, what do you like to do?
Against a player like Manny, this is tough. I might just fold, but he bets 140. He's getting good odds. I mean, I completely understand. It's really close between folding and calling for me. What about you?
I personally think that calling's the worst option. I think
You might raise.
Yeah, I think like you have to turn your hand into a bluff. I think by the time Manny donks turn and leads river, I think you're really hard pressed to find. It's really hard pressed to find a bluff that Manny can have, and he also could be value betting like 2 pair. He could have aces up or something, or just like a decent ace that he wants to get the showdown cheap with that you're losing to. So I could be wrong though.
Yeah, it's really close. I'm probably, if I'm being honest with myself, probably 80% fold there.
Fold?
Yeah, just let it go.
Yeah, I think with the 10 of clubs you have like such a key card. I think if you have like ace 10 with the 10 of clubs you can call because you have way more showdown value. You're not losing to a pair of aces, but with the pair of kings, you're just, I feel like you're just losing to too much as the action went. So I think you have to turn that hand into a bluff, unfortunately. And the 10 of clubs is a very key card. You block the 10-9 of clubs, 10-8 of clubs, Jack 10 of clubs, Queen 10 of clubs.
Well,
it's honestly the most key card you can have, I think.
And also the player type matters too as well. I think, of course we can see the cards, so it's easy to say, play Monday morning quarterback, but I think it's a fold versus Manny, but same scenario versus Mosquito Josh, I probably call.
I agree with that. Yeah. Mosquito Josh is known to just go off sometimes.
Yeah, which is why he gets paid off as well.
Yeah.
So we've got an ace on the turn here. Nobody with an ace. See, we've got JR with a pair of jacks is the best hand.
JWin going for a stab here. The pure, basically, not an air ball, but basically an air ball. I mean,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I personally think that I wouldn't go for a stab here 4 ways. I think it's a little ambitious, especially with, as we can see, like JR behind is calling with a pair of jacks. JR loves to just call. Like he loves to play pots to the river, So I think it's ambitious to bluff there. But like you could also argue from JWin's perspective, well, if JR is just going to fold the river, well then it's fine to bluff. So
yeah.
Who knows?
It'll be interesting. I think he'll probably fire again here. He has that look on his face.
Yeah, JWin loves to fire. So
It looks like he's going to overbet it possibly.
I like that play.
I do like that play. This puts a lot of pressure on exactly what JR has.
Yeah, I mean a pair of jacks you have to throw in the muck here.
Yeah.
It gets through.
Yeah, I think JWin was targeting almost exactly the type of holding that JR had there.
Yeah, and I think it's a good read by JWin, even knowing that like even if JR calls behind, knowing that JR is probably going to fold a lot of the time, especially to an overbet.
Yeah. So do you have any favorite, live stream or TV poker personalities that you really admire their game or that you like to watch?
I was actually talking about this. This is my first time commentating a stream game. I don't really watch poker culture that much. I don't really watch I don't watch vloggers. I don't really watch live streams that often. I just enjoy playing the game more than watching the game personally. But if I had a favorite, it would probably be Daniel Negreanu's always been my favorite.
Yeah.
I love his personality. I think his personality is really good for the game.
I agree.
Being very talkative. He's also, a lot of people don't know this, he's also vegan. And
I did know that.
I was vegan for a very long time.
Okay.
So
cool.
One of the reasons I went vegetarian, actually, when I was like 13 or 14, is because Daniel Negreanu was vegetarian.
Oh, wow.
At the time. Yeah. It's always been my favorite, I'd say. Other than that, there's no one who really sticks out to me. I like Ike Haxton a little bit for some reason. I don't.
Oh,
I
he's a
don't
great
really
player.
know why. Yeah, he's an amazing player. I mean, all these guys are amazing players. I don't really find interest in many of the vloggers though, personally. How about you? Do you have a vlogger you really like, or?
Yeah, I
Big name
watch a
pro.
lot of them. I mean, I don't obsessively watch vlogs necessarily, but I watch Brad Owen, Mariano. Tends to put together sometimes Rampage, but of those players, I kind of admire Mariano's game probably the most, as far as just how good of a player he is.
Okay. Mariano's definitely one of the best vloggers in terms of skill level. I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm completely with you on Negreanu. I've been a fan of his since the Moneymaker days.
Yeah, yeah. He's one of the players who definitely that kept me in the game, I'd
Yeah.
say, when I was a kid.
So we got Ace King versus Jacks. Mosquito's in great shape here, but Manny's going to fire 250.
Actually, Mosquito Josh looks like Mosquito Josh donked 250. Or
Oh, did he? Oh,
yeah.
he donkey called. Okay, and
And then
King on the
Manny.
turn is going to get Manny there. So, and he checks it. Mosquito knows it's not a great card for him. Checks back.
I imagine Manny's going to fire something here. And I think, yeah, Mosquito Josh has to pay that off for that.
Yeah, it's just a brutal turn card for Mosquito. Yeah, flips in the call.
Yeah, for that price, it's so hard to fold.
Another nice pot going Manny's way. It's been on a bit of a heater here. Yeah, I really admire Negreanu's game and his personality for poker, and also just his sustainability. The fact that he's been a top
so
player
resilient.
for so long,
Yeah.
and all that is asked of him, I'm sure that we would never see, as far as appearances and different things. And
He works very, very hard on his game.
and he
shows.
still works to be better.
He still plays against a lot of these players who are still around, even who are like old timers, I guess. Like they still play the game, but they don't play at the highest level, like
Right.
Daniel Negreanu does. Like Daniel Negreanu still plays super high rollers.
Yeah.
And he still competes he's just as good as most of those guys in those tournaments. So
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, he. If you're listening and you're not familiar with Daniel Negreanu, if you want an intro, he did an interesting podcast with one of my favorite podcasters, really smart guy, Lex Friedman.
yes, I know.
He interviews people like astrophysicists and stuff, but then he had Negreanu on, and it was just an interesting conversation. Especially, I guess it gave you insight because he asked the right questions that maybe somebody that's in poker wouldn't think to ask. So it was an interesting interview. We got Doug here with Queens, 10 high board.
Maybe I can ask, but but they said I can't do it. Put this in
This is a hand where if I'm JWin, I'm just folding personally. You turn a 7, it's not the nuts. And if the 4 was a diamond, I would put a raise in.
Yeah, I get extra snug chasing straights when there's a flush draw, because now you could get there with the 7 of spades and you still don't feel great about your hand. So
Yeah.
that's another thing that I take into consideration.
You're into the 20s.
He's way above.
I do wonder what he's going to do here. You can't blame him too much for putting the call in, but I do think it would be. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. It's a good fold.
So it's Jackson and Doug, and Jackson
Oh,
needs a lot of help here.
JWin would have turned.
And JWin would
hit one of the 3 cards. Poor JWin. I imagine Jackson just has to give up.
needs a 9, did not get there. Doug has to feel pretty good. Do you would you consider the board pairing the 7 to strengthen your hand if you have queens, given now you're beating 10-8, for example?
I think given it's the 7 of spades, I think it's generally like bad for my hand given the action. But if it was like the 7 of diamonds,
Yeah, pretend it's the 7 of diamonds. Yeah,
Yeah.
I overlooked the fact that it was the 3rd spade.
Yeah, I would say that it slightly strengthens my hand. The only problem is now you're losing to like 9-7, you know?
Which could have been chased,
definitely 9-7. You're losing to like potentially 7-6, right?
Yeah.
So you do have that concern. So I think it's generally like pretty indifferent there, and slightly bad when it's a 7 of spades.
Yeah. Yeah, bringing in the front door flush, definitely not a good card, but
The problem is like, as played, you're not going to have like any 7s, right, in your range, but your opponent will have, like you said, like 9, 7, 7.
No, no, what I'm
So
saying is like,
I'm not happy about it.
nice. You know what I mean? No, I'm not.
King Jack here for JR. Mosquito gonna play his Jack 9 offsuit from the low jack.
Raising it up. Kevin's been pretty quiet tonight, I'd say, I think, at least for the past couple hours.
Yeah, he has actually. Hasn't really had a lot to work with, but yeah, it's been a quiet night for him thus far.
I imagine JR feels pretty good about this hand. JR really hasn't gotten many good hands pre-flop. This is looking pretty good to him.
Yeah,
and he just he limps 3-bets it. So
that's another thing. We were going back to when we were talking about being card dead. Sometimes you're card dead, and all of a sudden you get King Jack offsuit, and it looks like aces. So have to be careful about that as well.
yeah, I think with JR's holding here, I would have liked to see. It looks like we see address about 125. I'd actually like to see a check raise from JR here. Oh, I guess it went bet call, and then JR checks. Yeah.
Decent pot there for Mosquito. A little over 600 headed his way. Trying to get himself out of the red. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us today. If you have a question or something you want just James or I to discuss, feel free to put it in the chat. Always love the interaction.
I love questions. I love asking them, and I love getting them asked to me.
I agree.
Small, big.
So please ask away.
As long as it's not Robbie. Robbie, you're not allowed in the chat.
Yeah, Rob.
Definitely kidding. JR with 10s here. Finally has a
That's his best hand
premium
tonight,
hand, yeah. JWin gonna come along with 9-7. Jackson with your hand, 10-3 offsuit, folds it.
Bad fold.
Bad fold.
What are your? You said you've played on stream a couple times before?
Yeah, a
Do
few
you
times.
generally like loosen up in general for the stream? Do you?
I would say slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, slightly.
Slightly.
Yeah, try to kind of like you were talking about, like you don't want to go on stream and play like a nit.
No.
But you also don't want to go on and blast off $1,000 either.
Exactly.
So,
There's a balance. You know?
Yeah.
You want to make it interesting for players and the viewers, but you can't just punt off every time, otherwise you're going to run out of money.
Yeah.
So.
It gets very expensive quick. So 10s are good here for JR. Didn't love the flop king, queen, high. And that's going to be good. Small pot. Has to feel good about winning after that flop, though. Yeah, so you likewise feel like you try to give a little more action on stream versus how you might play in a...
Yeah, my rule of thumb, again, I don't know if I should say this on stream, but I generally, like I have my pre-flop ranges I play, and I move it to like 2 seats over. So
I
like,
see.
So like I
Yeah.
open like my hijack range will become like my button range or something.
Makes sense. Yep.
So just to get some more hands in. I don't want to VPIP. You know, I don't want to VPIP like 12%. No one likes a nit on
Right,
stream,
right.
you know, so I try to keep it at least 25% if possible.
Yeah, just from doing this a lot, it feels like the most profitable players tend to VPIP somewhere between. This is going to sound like a wide range, but somewhere between like 22 and 35%.
Yeah, that's
Anything above that, it seems like they just, getting a little too spewy.
Mm-hmm.
Although, if somebody runs hot, they can spin it up and have a huge VPIP. But
for sure.
yeah, it tends. Yeah, I feel like it tends to be in the high 20s, low 30s.
Mm-hmm. I think that's where like Kevin usually is. I think that's where JWin usually is. I'm usually around there.
I did that last year. It was awesome.
Two separate trips?
2 separate trips.
So set of sevens here for Manny. The hot streak continues. Nobody with an ace on an ace-high flop here.
My wife's cool with up to about 6 days.
You need the 10 of clubs on the turn.
10 of clubs would be explosive.
That's what we need.
And very unfortunate for Manny, but
I just feel awful.
And Manny's for sure paying it off against a guy like JR. But we'll see. We'll see.
One.
Yeah.
so Manny's going to make a very small bet of 25. Get called by JR and Ryan. Ryan needs a lot of help, and that won't be it. Boat for Manny now. Unfortunately, just JR has a hand that can call a bet, really. Gotta assume Ryan's gonna exit stage left here.
Manny betting very small again.
Vegas seems fun, but like.
What do you think of these small bets?
So if I want to like go to Vegas, I probably do like.
Well, in this case, of course, we can see the cards. It's probably getting him a little more value, but I think it's a tell in the future, because especially if he's going to show this one down, everybody's going to see, okay, well, Manny gets very teeny tiny value betty when he has a big hand, so that would be the one negative. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm personally never betting the small multi-way.
10% a pot, or
yeah, I'm gonna try to get someone, with an ace to call. I'm gonna try to get someone with a 4 to call.
Yeah.
Like if you bet 40 versus 200 here, someone with an ace is still gonna call you. It's more than likely if it's a decent ace. Someone with a 4 is definitely gonna call you.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be able to get the full amount in on the river if someone has a 4 too, right? And it's not a flush completing card. You can go all in and they're gonna have to call you. So.
Yeah, I'm sure the players made a note of that, of how Manny bet that hand when he has a boat.
To defend Manny here a little bit, though, it is kind of tough to have, for a lot of players, to find bluffs here. Like, especially when the board pairs on the turn with the 4.
Yeah.
It's really tough for players to bet flop and bet turn as a bluff here. I might have a hand like 8-6 suited that I turn into a bluff, or I might even turn just a 7 into a bluff multi-way because I'm blocking the boats. And but I'm gonna bet like really hard. I want to bet really heavy to try to get people to fold and put them in uncomfortable spots. So.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we could see what JR had, but if I'm Manny, I'm just praying my opponent has a pair of aces, and I'm gonna bet as such.
Yeah, exactly.
Which would have been more, of course.
Yeah, and again, a player like JR can definitely have a 4. Like it's not out of the question at all. So by the turn, you got to just pile money in, I think.
JWin gonna raise up 6-3 suited.
His wasn't that old.
Flop a 3 on an ace-high board. Nobody with an ace. Mosquito playing the suited robbery. Jack 4.
Another hand where we haven't really had any huge fireworks. Hasn't been really any huge cooler. So.
Yeah, usually we get at least one, so we've got about an hour left. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us. So, yeah, we'll probably might get one in the last hour.
JR makes a straight here on the river. JWin just lets it go.
So since we brought up the hand a couple times tonight, what are your thoughts on the whole Robbie versus Garrett controversy with the Jack 4?
I don't know. It's been a long time. I remember I was quite into it, actually. It's one of the few poker things I was interested in.
Yeah.
That happened. I personally think she cheated. I think based off the way she talked after the stream was over, I think it was just very inconsistent, and it just sounded like someone who was very nervous and cheated, and got caught. And she gave the money back, and I think that's a tell. Like, if I didn't cheat someone in a pot and it looked like I cheated, say I just made a 6 soul read, I'm never giving them the money back.
Right.
Ever. I'm never, ever in a million years giving them the money back.
Yeah, I think that was very telling, and what's also been kind of telling for me that leans me toward your line of thinking there is how she was playing so big on these stream games and continued for a short time afterward, but her style of play had changed a lot.
A lot tighter.
It was a lot more like a more amateur, tighter player.
Okay, yeah.
And so
that makes sense. I didn't know she doesn't play live.
Yeah, I thought that that was, kind of, well, you got to keep playing a little bit to save face. Exactly. Because if you immediately quit, that's what somebody that cheated would do, right? So I think she was smart enough to keep playing a little bit, but again, not making any accusations here or talking about negatively about any other streams or anything. But, yeah, it did seem like it kind of added up to me that something nefarious was up.
Yeah.
So Mosquito has got top pair here, and Doug is going to bet into him. Excuse me, it's Doug with top pair, and Mosquito gets out of there with the crabs.
They're called the crabs. I don't know this PokerLinger.
Oh.
I don't watch.
Actually, I said he got out of there. He's thinking about it. Now he lets it go.
Like he folded,
yeah, the crabs. The Gretzky is 9-9. Did you know that one? No?
I don't know any of this stuff. I know what the Brunson is. I know what Rockets is. I know what Jiggities are. And Ducks.
Okay.
And that's extensive.
What was the last one?
Ducks.
And Ducks, yeah.
That's all I know. I don't know. And I know Snowmen, I guess. Probably that one.
Snowmen. Sailboats, pocket sevens. Heard that one.
I thought it was 4s.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's 4s, yes.
It's 4s, yeah. I've heard sailboats before, yeah.
Yeah. Hockey sticks is pocket sevens. That's what I was going for.
That makes sense.
Do you know what fake aces is?
Ace 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So for the viewers, if you peel your cards and you have ace 4, oftentimes if the 4 is on top for a second, you think you have aces.
It's the worst feeling.
Yeah, it is the worst feeling. Unless it's suited, then you play it like a maniac because that's the cool thing to do.
It's in right now, everyone.
It's in, yeah. Yeah, it's funny how certain trends with poker will kind of ebb and flow. Queen high flop here. Mosquito is going to flop top pair.
Ryan with an open ender.
To a turn, and that is going to give, nope, just a pair for Ryan, sorry.
If I'm Ryan here, I don't mind calling and I don't mind raising. Either one I think is fine. Your hand has a lot of equity if you get called. And you can get better hands to fold, like a 5 or a 4 or a bad queen.
Ace of spades on the river.
Oh, you're saying his is nicer.
And Manny and Ryan are going to be chopping with a wheel.
Mosquito Josh looks like he's bluffing at it.
Yeah, he's going to try to represent that ace, unfortunately. He's going to be stepping into it.
Manny also makes the straight. I didn't see that.
Yeah, so we got a chop here between Ryan and Manny. They'll be chopping up Mosquito's money here.
Now, if you're Manny here, do you prefer raising again, or do you prefer calling and trying to rope Mosquito Josh in if he has like a set or something?
I think I prefer just flat calling here. There is some possible higher straights out there, so I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think it's unlikely someone has a possible straight.
Yeah.
I think both are fine between calling and raising. Me personally, I think I have a fairly aggressive image in like spots, and I think I find bluffs sometimes where other people don't, and so I think I'd probably personally raise in this spot. The problem is I think that when I get called, very rarely is the player going to call me unless they have a straight, so that's tough.
Ryan's going to call. Mosquito called.
Wow, that is Mosquito
That's
Josh called?
pretty.
Really? No,
It
no,
did
he-
say call, but I think he must have folded.
Yeah, he
here.
folded because it
Okay.
said they each won $60 or something.
Yeah. Do you, as you play, do you adjust to what table image you perceive the other players may have, or do you kind of stick to the same game, or
Like what they perceive of me, or
Right.
Okay.
like if you feel like you're getting called light, do you know, maybe tighten up, or do you-
Yeah, of course. I'm
Yeah.
always like reassessing the situation.
Yeah.
It's mostly just like who I'm playing against, the player I'm against, and like what, I guess, what quote unquote level I think they're on and what they're thinking about. I know some players, they just like to get really sticky, and so
Yeah.
I'm just not going to bluff someone who's a calling station, so to say.
Yeah, actually, sticky players are, I find particularly tough to play against because
Yeah.
it's harder to play poker when you have to have the best hand. It's a lot easier when you can get some folds.
I agree.
Set of eights for Barber in this bomb pot. Top board. Top board being the one furthest from the dealer.
Ryan has a set on bottom. And Mosquito Josh. I think the graphics might be wrong. Because it says Mosquito Josh has 53% equity on the
He
bottom.
does have straight draws on both boards.
Yeah, but Ryan
but-
also has a set of sixes. So
Yeah.
I'm just surprised to see that. I think
Oh, it
that's
just
off.
adjusted here, I think.
Oh, it did? Okay, yeah, 31%. That makes sense. Very interesting.
See what JR is going to do. He gets out of there.
Yeah, good fold by JR. A lot of people see king, king, queen, jack, and you just don't want to let a hand like
Yeah.
that go, but you have to.
Yeah, I played a bomb pot this last week here at TCH, and I got ace, ace, king, king, double suited, and just completely bricked.
Whiffed,
I was like,
yeah.
it's so pretty, though.
I had that happen at PLO here
Yeah.
recently. I had ace, ace, king, king, and it came like, literally came like 8, 7, 6 or something,
Yeah.
5 ways. I'm like, my hand's dead.
Yep.
Like, just
You give it that one last fond look and just send it to the muck.
Mosquito Josh makes a wheel on the end here. I wonder if he's gonna bet this. If I'm Barber, I'm not loving eights full here personally.
Yeah. Losing ace 9, ace deuce, ace 8. Unlikely with your eights, but
Yeah.
possible.
It's another spot too where he has 2 pair on the bottom. So if someone does have like ace 9, ace 8, ace deuce, it's given the way the boards interact with each other, it's extremely unlikely they're also gonna have like you'd have to have like ace 8, 7, 4, ace 8, queen 6. It's a very specific hand you'd lose to. So I might fold eights full versus a bet on the river if I don't have a pair or 2 pair on the board.
Okay, I see straight to the 6 down here. You know, I got up here.
Mosquito Josh is gonna
Tripping
win.
up top.
Yeah, so Ryan actually made the call, and Barber and Mosquito are going to chop up the money here. Actually, a decent profit. A couple $100 each player.
Tough spot for Ryan. It's tempting to call
Yeah.
and hope that you're up against 2 boats up top, ace 8 and ace 9. I forget what his exact hand was, but that's when I start thinking about how do my other cards interact with the other board.
Yeah.
And how they interact with the board I have here. And I think it's my room to call. I think he had a blocker to the straight on bottom too.
Yeah, and it wasn't, well, it was middle set on the flop, I guess, but got to be careful with those small pairs when you flop a set, because any overcard is now puts you at risk of somebody improving to a bigger set. Seems to happen somewhat frequently. So Jackson and Doug leading the way here, along with Manny and JWin. Kevin quietly in the green, up 500.
And I would have. Really? I have fought seven on the bottom and had some blockers going in it.
Can you get one of those like buy apart San Francisco or something shirts?
Got about an hour left. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll be done at 10 Central. Feel free to hop in the chat, ask a question of just James or I, or make a comment. We'll be happy to chime in.
How long have you lived in Austin?
I've been in the Austin area since 2008. I currently live in Leander. What about you?
Okay, I've been in Austin area for 3 years. 2.5 years, 3 years. And I just recently moved to Elgin. It's pretty far away. But
Nice.
yes, I like the quiet little town in Elgin.
Yeah, it is a nice town. I've driven through there quite a bit.
Austin's
Always
a very
stop
nice
and get
city.
barbecue.
In Elgin?
Yeah, I think it's or on the way to Elgin.
I think it's
There's
called like Southwest Market.
something
or
like
something.
yeah, Southwest Market or something.
Yeah,
like
I
that.
keep everyone keeps telling me to go there. It must be really good.
Yeah, it is good. It's well, and from even though we're both kind of technically Austin Metroplex, I live on the exact opposite side essentially. So if I'm going to Houston, by the time I get to Elgin, I've been driving for a while, so it's a good little pit stop.
Yeah, Elgin's even pretty far from TCH. I have like a 45-minute drive
Yeah.
to get here now.
But you get to the tollway helps, I assume, right? Quite a bit.
Yeah, problem is
Yeah.
the stream goes through rush hour, so it kind of
Yeah.
slows things down a bit.
So Jackson's going to have the best hand here with just a pair of nines and will win a small pot.
I've never been, but that's what I hear.
Jackson having a good night.
For sure.
I'm sure we're all tempted to bet that.
He's hitting cards and holding when he has to and getting max value.
Yep.
He's playing just overall solid poker for him.
Really hasn't had a misstep.
I agree.
What was your 9? 9, 10?
Where did you move to the Austin area from?
I moved from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you mentioned Albuquerque. Okay. Is there poker rooms in Albuquerque, or?
There is a casino. It's beautiful. It's a casino resort called Sandia.
Okay.
And it's honestly a beautiful casino, especially for just a local place. It's an Indian casino. Poker there's okay. The poker in Texas, of course, is way better.
Right.
It's just how Texas is, we have action.
That's right.
Yeah, we kind of live in the poker mecca.
We really do. I mean,
of basically non-Las Vegas, I suppose, but I would rather play in Texas than in Las Vegas. In Las Vegas, you're going to get a lot of European pros that are playing perfect GTO.
exactly.
And, there's a lot more action in Texas. The games play much bigger.
Yes, I love playing deep. Man here with ace-jack suited. Calls. Expecting him to call the way he's playing tonight, and I think it's fine play. Doug puts in the call with king-jack off. I think, yeah, you can just fold king-jack off here, actually. Even in the 20, I think it's...
Yeah, I'm not a lover of king-jack off. So top pair here for Manny. Jack kicker. Top pair also for Mosquito, but worst kicker with the 8.
Thank you so much, Phony, for that. Hope you have an awesome weekend as well. Or had an awesome weekend, and will have an awesome week.
Yeah, likewise. Always good to have Phony Turgeson in the chat.
He's
Almost
in here
weekly.
a lot, or
Oh, I'm sorry?
is he in here a lot?
Yeah,
Is he in
yeah,
the chat
he's
a lot?
regular contributor to the chat.
Are most of the people in chat, do they play here usually, or are they somewhere else? Do you know?
I think play here and actually at some of the other locations. A lot of times we'll have people hop in that play at TCH Dallas or Rio Grande Valley or sometimes Houston. I've had people in chat from New Zealand. It's kind of cool.
Wow.
All over the world, so always fun to hear where people are watching from. So Manny is going to win a pretty nice pot here from Mosquito, out kicking him with his ace-jack.
Went to showdown.
So for the listeners who haven't played at TCH, you don't have to play as big as these guys are playing here. If you've got a couple $100, you can hop into a 1-2 game or one of our weekly tournaments. Play for as little as $20. Got a nice $60 tournament on Wednesdays, $120 tournament on Saturday. All fun way to get in the action. Don't have to buy in for $2,000 if you're not
Yeah.
a high stakes player.
You don't even have to buy in. Everyone likes to. But you don't have to buy in for 2,000 at the 2.5.
2.5, yeah.
either. I buy in for 800 usually. I like playing an 800 stack.
Thanks, Phony Turgeson. Hardly missed a stream.
Definitely come on down. Austin's a beautiful city too.
It's a great city.
I was actually going to mention, even if you don't play poker, Austin's a great city just to come to and experience all the music and the live art scene, I guess. So
Now comedy is huge here.
comedy is getting really big. I saw a hilarious comedian the other day. I think his name was like Tony Casillas at
Okay.
Barrel of Fun.
Okay.
Hilarious. I mean, I was like crying. My wife. and
Live
I
show
both.
that you went to?
Live show.
Oh,
yes,
nice.
It's really good. In Mueller. Highly recommend. You guys should look him up on Instagram. He's hilarious.
Yeah, I always tell people that it doesn't matter what your niche is, you can find it in Austin. So whatever you're into, it's here. You just have to find it. I don't think there's. If somebody says they couldn't find what they like in Austin, I say you just didn't try hard enough.
I agree with
we
that.
have it.
Yeah. All kinds of people are in Austin.
Manny with the jacks, the jiggities here.
Did
Top
not
pair
fold in
for
pre-flop
Ryan.
this time.
Gonna win a $555 pot. So did you ever visit Roswell while you lived in Mexico?
I did not.
Yeah.
It's pretty far away from Albuquerque. It's
Yeah,
like
it's a
4
pretty
hour
good haul.
drive.
Yeah.
It's like a 3.5, 4 hour drive. Also, there's like nothing out there really.
Yeah, it's only the alien museum stuff,
Yeah,
and that's
that's
about
it.
it.
I know it's popular.
I've never visited, but I would if I was in the area.
Yeah, Albuquerque's like an okay city, I would say.
Yeah, I've never been there. Actually, take that back. I have been to Albuquerque a couple times. Slipped my mind, but not to stay, so I've just kind of been through. But
It's one of-
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, it's honestly like a beautiful city if you're in like the right area, I guess, like the safer areas. But there's a lot of crime in Albuquerque, unfortunately. Albuquerque is one of the last cheap like mountain cities. You know, like Phoenix has
before
gotten
you
expensive,
get up into
Denver's expensive, but it's cheap if you want to live near a mountain.
So is that where you went to high school and everything?
No, I grew up in Ohio, actually, Northeast Ohio. I grew up in what we call the Knit West. Knit West. It's very true, the Knit West.
It's funny. I played in
don't have as
Kansas
much
City
money.
before, and I started. It was a 1-3 game, and I was opening to my usual Texas sizing, and everybody looked at me like I was a crazy.
Oh, yeah, like
Yeah.
you're like I go to Cleveland sometimes and I'll ask for like 5-10 or like 10-20, 10-25. They're like, that's not gonna go. They're like, there's no shot because like 2.5 in Cleveland is I think it's 500 max.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's
wild.
like it's so weird, or like it might be 800 max now. They change it all the time, but PLO's big up there.
Jackson with top pair, now 4 flush with the hearts on the turn. Mosquito's got a gut shot to a wheel, but can't be too excited about that with all the hearts.
Looks like he's gonna maybe take a stab at this. No, he says check. Been wrong every time.
He thought about it.
He did, definitely did. I imagine Jackson's gonna check, right, and then if you're Mosquito Josh, you got to stab the river, right? I mean,
Yeah,
ace-five is not
I
good
think
here,
Mosquito's
ace-five.
going to have to bet here. I don't think he'll be able to resist, and this will be kind of a gross spot for Jackson.
Yeah, Personally, if I'm Jackson, I'm probably folding this hand.
Yeah, I think I'm folding. Any heart beats you, but he's made all the right moves and makes another one.
And he finds it.
Makes
Wow.
the call. Nice hand for Jackson once again.
Where did you grow up before moving to Leander?
I grew up in South Texas, a small town called Goliad.
Okay.
If most people have not heard of it, it's very small, but it's kind of, if you imagine about 60 miles off the Texas coast, halfway between Corpus Christi and Houston.
Okay.
The larger city that's nearby is Victoria, if you've heard of that. But yeah, I grew up there, went to Texas A&M, moved to Dallas, and then I've been in Austin since '09.
Okay.
Yeah, I started playing poker right here at TCH Austin. I entered one of those weekly tournaments that I mentioned earlier that run every week. And I got second the first time I played, and I thought, well, maybe I could be okay at this. So just kind of caught on from there. More of a cash game player now than tournaments, but still enjoy a tournament here and there.
I think a lot of people start on tournaments, oddly, and then they move to cash.
Yeah, I always recommend to people that, you know, they say, oh, well, where do you play? And, you know, I let them know, and, you know, they know that I play higher and stuff. But, and like, you know, you don't have to go play with me. You can just come hop in a $60 tournament and have a good time, get your feet wet, get used to the flow of the game and the dealers and handling the chips and all that. So you don't have to break the bank if you want to start. So Mosquito's all in here with ace-9 suited. Ryan's got ace-jack, trying to decide what to do. He would have Mosquito dominated.
It's tempting with JR's 125 in there. It's tempting to call the ace-jack here. Against Mosquito Josh, I'm probably flicking it in. Also, like, what's going through my mind, too, is, like, even if I think ace-jack's not the best hand to get in here, not a good one, like, I also want to give action to action players. You know? Even if like it's slightly losing against Mosquito Josh's range, I'd say like I just want to give action. You know?
Well, last time we saw Mosquito do this, he tripled up 3 ways, so we'll see if we can do it again. Looks like JR is considering calling with Jack-5 suited. Would be in bad
stuff
shape.
Like that before, so we had I forget what the hand was, the 3-way with Doug and another guy earlier. And
makes the call, so we'll go 3 ways all in.
I'd like to see a 1 time here, but I think they'll run it twice.
Josh, do you have like
Max
a
Payne.
jack and 4 discs?
Thank you, by the way, Funny Turkish, for the compliment. I appreciate it. This is my first time commentating stream. So.
Yeah, it's been great having you. I hope we can have you back at some point. Hopefully you're having a good time.
I am. I'm very happy to be here.
So $1,800, 3 ways all in. See if Mosquito can triple again. Got to root for the action player.
I heard JWin say he thinks JR has Jack-10 of diamonds. It's kind of close.
That's pretty close.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Not bad.
Good read, good read.
They're going to go twice here.
Does JR win that one? He wins with the 5.
Wow, JR wins the... I think they just ran it once. Yeah, he flips it up. JR wins with Jack-5 suited versus ace-jack and ace-9. Wow.
JR and Mosquito.
That actually gets JR into the green.
Good for him. Every time I tune in, it's a bingo party. Are you talking about the comments, gambling all, or the
or the play?
Or the play on stream? Could be both.
JR, I'm back. I tell you
Jackson Manny leading the way up a couple thousand plus. Fortunately for Josh, he's actually stuck 5K, but it looks like he's going to rebuy here.
Yeah. It's a rough night for anyone to lose 5K. I think he's maybe past the point of being able to get out of it at this point. But
yeah, he's not a quitter. Looks like Ryan will be rebuying as well. So we'll give Ace a chance. Ace is in the box. Count the chips out.
Absolutely funny. You gotta love the action players. You gotta love them
Oh,
getting
yeah.
action. I love a table when money's moving around, whether I'm winning or losing.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
I'd rather play at a table with action that I'm losing at than play at a table I'm actually up a little bit.
Completely agree.
You just have to sit there and play
Yeah,
boring ABC poker.
That's one of those things that I've started to do much more actively in some of the poker training content and stuff that I've consumed. You know, just game selection. If I get to a table and it's nitty and there's no money moving around, I'll ask for a table change.
Yeah.
Go find the one where the money's in play.
And that's what I like so much about Las Colinas, TCH Las Colinas, is that 2-5 there runs around the clock, and you have multiple tables every night. You got 5, 6,
Wow.
7 tables at 1,500 max. Whereas out here in Austin at TCH, like you might get lucky to get a 1-3 or a 2-5, and you only got like one table to play at. I mean, you're stuck with whatever you get for the day.
Yeah.
So I like to go up to TCH Las Colinas, get a hotel. By the way, for those of you in chat who are interested in going to TCH Las Colinas, they don't, for some reason, TCH doesn't have it on their website, but they do still have hotel partners. If you want to,
Oh, cool.
If you call them up, they'll give you a code for their local hotel partner. It's a beautiful hotel. It's Candlewood Suites. Just a couple minutes away. You get your really good deal on a room.
Nice.
So
That's
highly
actually
recommend
good
checking it
information
out.
for me as well.
Yeah. It's like $80 a night, and it's like a brand new
Nice.
hotel. Really nice. Yeah.
Nice.
Totally worth it. The action's great.
Got to root for Jackson here. He's got my favorite hand, pocket fours. No 4 on the flop with.
JWin with top pair, top kicker. Always feels good flop top pair, top kicker with the bad ace for some reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And backdoor diamonds as well.
Yes. As good as he could flop, really, other than a flush.
JR has his favorite hand with Jack 5 again.
Scratch your back, you scratch my back. Get in there, baby.
He's got a little smile.
Yeah,
I think.
he knows he.
Yeah. He's like, I just won an $1,800 pot 3 ways all in with Jack 5. I got to be in there.
Phony Turgeson, I actually agree with you. We were talking about earlier on stream about going once or twice, and I'm usually a twice guy, but I'm thinking I'm going to maybe switch to once only.
The JWin improves to the nut flush draw now on the turn. Mosquito's got a gutter to a straight and 2 overcards.
Interesting to see if he gambles here. I think he will because he's stuck.
Yeah.
It's tough not to when you're stuck to one.
Yeah, this is... I'd be pretty surprised to see him lay this down here.
Are you thinking about what I'm betting with?
Yeah, you probably gotta be.
What if I tell you I did?
JWin just asked him, are you thinking of what I'm betting with? I think he said I put you on 2 big cards.
He said a big overpair.
Big overpair,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, he's not really that far off. I mean,
No?
next best thing, ace-9 with diamonds. I mean, huge hand. And JWin gets...
JWin has the stone cold nuts. King of diamonds on the river. Unfortunately, does not improve Josh, so I don't think he'll be getting any more Josh dollars.
That's a straight draw. I'm like, my over might have been live. You got a big pair, big over. Pocket ace. Better than less. Oh, get mine.
Wow. Just the nuts.
Back jackpot. Did you really? I got the double gutter. I was like, bet a little less. I called. This was good of you. If I hit my straight, it was the nut.
I had 5-6.
It's not the bottom straight.
I don't
Get
know.
in there, baby.
I don't know.
5, 6 equals 11. If you're in Vegas, people would double their money with 11.
Double down. Thank God. I didn't even get in the free flop. Made it like 100. Yeah. Not full.
Ace-10 suited here for Manny in the low jack.
Good to see both of my overs.
He will raise it up.
Oh, no. No way, really? Yikes.
Doug with pocket 9s, the Gretzky hand.
like to call that wager.
And a suited connector for JWin in the cutoff, or excuse me, button. So we'll go 3 ways to a flop. This could be quite interesting. Ace high board, couple of deuces. So flush draw for JWin with the 2 spades. Top pair for Manny. Doug is being bet into with his pocket 9s. Got to figure with a player behind he's going to let him go, and I am wrong. He is going to call. As will JWin with his flush draw. JWin is going to make a pair on the turn with a pair of 8s. Manny still commanding lead with his ace 10. He'll bet it. And Doug is going to send the 9s into the muck here. JWin could choose to raise here now that he improved to a pair with the flush draw. Appears that might be what he's contemplating. Just makes the call. And gets there on the river with another flush. Back-to-back flushes for JWin. And Manny's going to bet 207.20. So now we got a almost $1,000 pot. JWin, I assume, is going to go for some extra value here. Is a paired board. Can't love that, but probably debating between the call and the raise, and the raise is incoming. This is going to be bad news for Manny. JWin makes it 750. Manny in a tough spot here. Has to hate that front door flush getting there. He flicks in the call. JWin's going to get paid off. $2,200 headed JWin's way. Nice hand for JWin. Gets max value there. So that'll cut a little bit into Manny's profit. He's still up for the day, though.
Got a bomb pot coming up here. Double board PLO. Also, something I like about TCH is the bomb pots here are uncapped. A lot of places you go to around the country, they actually limit how much can be put in the pot per player. I really appreciate the uncapped. It makes it a deeper, more complex game. More complex than it already is. So we're going to see 2 boards. You must use 2 cards from your hand on each board. And you do not have to split your hands. You can use the same card on both boards. JR flops a straight with backdoor spades. And backdoor boat draws as well, technically. On the top with nothing on the bottom. A little pro bet out there, I like that. Barber calling with 2 pair, Mosquito Josh calling with top pair up top, and the nut flush blocker. The club comes in. Manny on the bottom with 2 pair, and the gut shot to the 4. JWin has a set of queens up top. I personally would rather take a hand like a set of queens here than King 10 multi-way. You have a better shot of
I would agree.
winning, I think, yeah. Lots of action on this one going to the turn. And JR improves. He has the nuts up top already, but he has a redraw to the nuts spades.
Yeah, flopping a straight in a bomb pot is always a little bit of a nervous feeling.
For sure, you always need something to go with it, I think. You
Yeah.
need some other potential. Barber here with ace-jack. No clubs. Nothing really on the bottom. I think you just have got to let this one go, I think.
Well, Mosquito jams all in for his last 210. Barber's out of the way, and we're down to JWin and JR.
Interesting to see what JWin does here. I think either play is honestly fine. I think calling or holding is fine. The thing is, when JWin makes his hand, if it's a jack or 4 on the river, he can apply max pressure. He can just go and force a lot of folds, and he can actually scoop a lot. So let's see.
Gets there.
And he does get there, but he gets there in the bad
The worst way.
The worst
Yes.
way on the river, yes.
Yeah.
He gets there in the worst way, so.
Does have the boat, though.
Yeah.
So JWin and Mosquito. Mosquito's all in, so he'll be getting half this pot. Let's see what JR decides to do here. I imagine, as you said, JWin's probably going to... Oh, okay, he bet, and maybe it went check, actually.
It might have.
Or no, we do have a bet from JWin. Okay.
JWin is going to chop the side with JR. He's going to chop the side with JR, and then JWin and Mosquito Josh are going to chop the main. Looks like.
This is when I'm not envious of the dealers, when you have side pots and bomb pots and
it's
three ways.
Oh, I can't imagine.
I respect their skill.
Oh, yeah. I've been playing PLO recently, and the dealers sometimes have 4 side pots. You know? Like it's like 5 different pots that they have to remember who's in what pot and look at 5 hands.
Yeah, that goes back to what I was saying when if somebody is in any way disrespectful to the dealer, I'm like, you couldn't do their job.
The dealers work hard.
Yeah, they work
they're
hard.
Sitting all day. They have to constantly be paying attention in the game. I know I would get distracted a lot of the time.
So you've been playing a decent amount of PLO. How do you compare the variance you see session or, well, maybe not session to session, but maybe week to week or month to month between PLO and No Limit Hold'em?
Well, I just really started playing PLO in the past month.
Okay.
And the variance is a lot higher.
Right.
So you could imagine it's a lot higher, especially because a lot of hands in PLO are going 6 ways to flop. A lot of people just like to play PLO.
Yeah.
They like to play hands. Any hand in PLO can win, become a huge hand post flop. So it's going to happen more frequently than in Hold'em. So
yeah,
I've experienced the variance to be a lot more. I'm up a lot of money still. Jackson waking up with aces
the
here
Rockets
on the button.
I believe this is his second time with aces.
Yeah.
JWin, I assume, is going to go set mining with his 4s when he gets back around to him.
Yeah.
Flicks in the call, literally.
It's the ace-4. Oh, ace in the window, but
top
no
set.
floor.
You know, top set when you have aces or kings, of course, you're happy to have it, but it's so hard to get action. A lot of times you just have the board so dominated.
I don't like it. JWin here flatting with 4s. Maybe he thought he had a diamond. I think 4s just have to go in the muck.
Wow, and JWin's going to bluff at the 4 flush.
Yeah. I personally don't like this bluff. You have no equity. If you're going to bluff, I'd rather bluff with 2 pair here.
Some kind of,
2 pair. And the problem is, as the caller pre-flop, your opponent is going to have a lot more strong hands than you are. They're going to have queens with the diamond. They're going to have ace-queen offsuit just as much as you do. they're going to have, in fact, they're going to have ace queen offsuit more often than you do. They're going to have all the top sets, and I think it's just hard. You generally don't want to be betting when your opponent is beating you, and the range is beating you.
Yeah. Yeah, JWin keeps the pressure up. He goes 350, and actually, ironically, this is the second time Jackson's been in a gross spot with a
call
4
by
flush.
Jackson. Good call.
Makes the call again correctly.
Good call. Playing very solid poker.
Had a similar spot versus, I believe it was Mosquito Josh with a 4 flush when he had top pair. Wins a nice pot.
Yeah, and aces are going to be one of your best hands to call there. It's even, I would argue, it's even better than having a hand like 8s with a diamond or 9s with a diamond, because you're blocking the ace queen offsuit twice, which is going to be a hand JWin's representing essentially.
That's right.
When he flats a 3-bet pre-flop and then leads out, he's saying I have the nut flush or a strong flush. So.
Mosquito leading the way in VPIP, unsurprisingly, along with Manny.
Also
JWin up there at
unsurprisingly.
41%.
I'm always impressed when really good players like JWin are able to keep the VPIP high and still be a winning player.
Yeah.
It's very tough to do. It's like an art
I
to
agree.
it. It's almost like art.
So we're on to hand 72 here. Barber with King 9. Got Ryan in there with 10 Jack. Looks like we're going to go 5 ways to a flop here. 7-7-4. 2 spades. Spades for JR.
Manny flopping trip 7s.
Trip 7s for Manny. Yep.
I imagine JR is never folding a flush draw, given the way he plays.
Don't believe so. It wouldn't be his suited jacks have served him well so far. I don't think he's going to quit now.
Absolutely. JWin calls, interestingly. Imagine thinking of
Quads for Manny. So Manny is in extraction mode here. That's probably going to slow JR down. Don't really want to chase a flush with trips on the board.
Do you like to solo play here, or do you like just fast play your quads?
Right now on the turn,
in this spot,
I think
yeah.
you got to go ahead and start trying to build a pot some way, somehow. Unfortunately, I just don't see JR, and obviously JWin is already folded. JR is going to come along, I guess.
Let's see a jack on the river.
Jack on the river would be disaster for JR. Ooh,
He makes the flush.
he just hit the flush. It is no good to quad 7s by Manny. What do you bet here if you're Manny? $300 pot?
Me personally, I'm hoping that I got called by Ace X, and I'm just going
Big.
big.
Yeah.
Again, another
Yeah.
spot where, believe it or not, the solver is going to open rip. It's going to go 8x pot, actually. in this
Wow.
spot. It's going to go 8x or 10x pot. And it's going to also do that with Ace X. It's going to do that with, it'll airball hands like 8-5 of clubs, 8-9 of clubs, where you're blocking the 7-8 of the 7-8 suited that makes quads. And it's just going to pile money in. Personally, I'm not going to do that because I know that live people, even online, some of those spots where no one's going to call unless they have quads. So I'm personally just going to go like pot, probably.
Yeah.
Pot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think with the ace on the river, I'm going pot, maybe a hair over, maybe like 350,
It's the same thing,
400.
yeah, maybe 100 over pot.
Yeah.
Go 125%.
Because it's going to be impossible for somebody to fold an ace there, and if they don't have an ace, you're not getting called, essentially. So
Exactly.
you kind of might as well just go for it.
Folded a lower boat.
Might as well go large.
7 counterfeited my boat.
JWin with another suited ace. Kevin's going to raise up king queen.
What about it?
I bet 185 or something on the turn.
By the way, I want to be clear to you and everyone listening. When I say solver, I'm saying like that's what solver does in heads up spots. No one knows what is being done in a 5-way limped pot.
Right.
Like, no one knows
Yeah.
like what the solution is. All I know is that when you have a big hand, you want to put a lot of money in the pot and get all, like, the idea is get all the money in. So that's the goal.
Mosquito got the king jack, so he's got king queen, ace 3 suited, and king jack. Looks like we'll be going to the flop in a 3-bet pot here. Queen jack 5, 2 hearts. Mosquito with middle pair. Kevin with top pair.
Kevin's been asleep for an hour, hour and a half.
Yeah.
I think. He hasn't played a single hand.
He's been sleeping behind those sunglasses. Mosquito just rips it, and gotta assume Kevin's not gonna be letting go of top pair here.
Absolutely not. Poor Mosquito just running into it again.
Yeah, Mosquito is having a little bit of a tough run of luck here.
JWin posturing here. Obviously never fold or never calling.
Yeah, I imagine this
Unless
is going
there's
in
a
the muck.
misread here.
Unless he thinks he can isolate Mosquito with just ace high, and that's going to be good.
Well, Kevin already called, so you got to be
Yeah.
Kevin now too. Oh,
Yeah,
you're
you
saying
gotta-
unless you're saying you think he can get Kevin to
But
fold.
yeah, if he can get Kevin to fold, but
Yeah,
he's going to let it go.
So, yeah, no.
He had nefarious thoughts
Anyways,
there,
yeah.
but
Yeah, I like to call those intrusive thoughts. You don't want to act on your intrusive thoughts
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah.
I just got a pair. I have a backdoor straight.
they're going to go twice.
Ooh, backdoor hearts? No. Oh my god!
I'm all,
First board to Kevin.
You're good. Ooh, straight. Straight. On the
Okay, so you're going to get quartered.
And they're going to chop it up. Mosquito gets there with a straight on the second board.
Kevin also gets there, so it will be a
Oh,
three-quarter,
it's 3/4, yeah.
Mosquito Josh is going to lose a little bit of money.
But the thing is, I mean, imagine you were trying to it's just a fucked up spot.
More pot chopping for Asa.
I'm just, whenever it's time to get it in,
I would never check.
Probably thinking I'm not supposed to have to do this unless it's a bomb pot.
But it's kind of like, it's a little
Right.
But I knew like that was part of it though.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you were trying to give him protection.
Yeah.
I knew that was it still would have been
And
a
I'm never gonna fucking bluff flop and not fucking chance. But it's just, it's a little fucked up.
JWin talking about his like intrusive thoughts there, thinking about just like doing something he shouldn't have.
The first board. Yeah. Then they chop it straight.
You know, you always gotta change.
Yeah, that'd have been pretty speculative with just ace high on that board,
Absolutely, extremely speculative.
to say the least.
Yeah. At least have ace queen or ace 10 or something where you give yourself an
Yeah.
out, you know, to a straight if you're gonna do something like that. Sad to see that we had a lot of the straddles on at the beginning of the stream, and now it seems like there's not many straddles on, or not as many as there used to be.
Yeah, usually it escalates as the night goes on, but this has not been the case. But we've seen a lot of big pots. Yeah, last Monday it was wild. We had 40 on almost all night and up to 80 quite frequently. So that was a big game. We saw multiple 9K pots.
Those are big pots. Like, if you're not from Texas and you hear a 9K pot at 2.5,
Yeah, that's
like,
wild.
Like, that's like Royal versus quads or something. Squads. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's like something insane.
So Kevin found something to play, raises ace king suited, and everybody folds. So he wins $37.
Kevin, you get what you deserve.
Yes.
For pipping 15%
Yep.
tonight. I would call Kevin and I friends. Kevin would say no.
Same.
Kevin would say no. Yeah,
Yeah.
I consider Kevin a friend,
Yeah.
you know? So.
I asked Kevin one time in a tournament, so what do you think your leaks are, Kevin? He said, I'm not telling you.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, he's right. I mean,
Yeah.
Why would you tell someone your leaks? Me, I'm very open about like
Yeah.
strategy and my game and where I think my weaknesses are. And I think it pushes me to become a better player and study more. And so I almost like telling people, like, oh, I suck at this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not good at this.
No, I agree. He said, well, what are yours? And I said, well, I think I could be stickier with middling pocket pairs with an over card on the
live
flop.
stream.
And he goes, okay.
Barrels live stream.
Yeah, Kevin's like, thanks for the free information.
Yeah, yeah. So we got Doug here with the ace queen. He's going to raise it up 4 bets to 330. Manny's got a pair of 6s. Kind of doubting he's going to come along here.
He did fold jacks to a 3-bet earlier to Doug. So I can't imagine why he'd call 6s to a 4-bet to Doug, but we'll see. He's surprised us.
He has surprised us.
It looks like he's really looking for a reason to call to flop a set. He's really looking. He does lay it down.
Yeah, that's one of those spots. I mean, they're both pretty deep. If you call the extra 2 and change, flop comes ace high with a 6. You're getting the whole stack, probably.
Yeah, that is a very specific flop though. Ace high with a 6.
Yeah, it's
not
very
gonna happen
specific.
all that
Yeah.
often.
It is the dream spot, though.
I don't know if it's the case nowadays. There used to be the rule of thumb you want your stack to be 20 times the size of the bet you're calling if you're trying to set mine. That used to be the rule back in the day. I don't know if there's a hard rule nowadays.
20x?
20x.
I would have thought it would be a little lower because you have the, 1 in 7.5 chance of flopping a set.
Yeah, the problem is you got to get paid though. Too.
Yeah.
Like, you're not always going to get paid.
Yeah.
Mosquito Josh looking a little visibly frustrated in my opinion, which I'd be frustrated too if I lost 5,000.
I would agree. Manny's got ace king now.
Imagine
Of the offsuit variety.
That's in a big 3-bet, I'd say. A little on the large side. No, not really, actually. Yeah, was this 2-5, 10, 20, 40 this hand? Because it says Mosquito Josh called 40.
Oh, yeah, we may have had the straddle on.
Yeah, JR getting in there with 7-4. Of course, you'd love to see it.
Love it.
Mosquito Josh going all in with 5-4, of course, because what else is there to do?
Of course. There's no other option. Now Manny's all in.
We were at, what was my original? 40.
And that's a big shove. That's $2.9 thousand, guys. That's 3K. That's a 3K shove pre-flop.
It's not going to open it back up. His raise doesn't open yours back up.
Oh, and now he's being the raise wasn't enough to reopen the pot because Mosquito Josh's all in did not double the previous bet.
What did Manny make it? He made it.
I believe he made it 150.
150. Okay, and Mosquito Josh went all in for 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Manny's kind of stuck here.
Yeah.
And now his opponent has the information that he wanted to go all in.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
So
So JR is really hoping here for like 2 pair or something. I mean, that's
JR.
in his mind. He's like, if I flop huge here, I might get a huge payday.
I think this is the 3rd 3-way all-in Mosquito's been in, which is quite the accomplishment.
Just
And flops the stone cold nuts. So Manny made quads earlier, now just flops Broadway.
He is winning this pot. That is it. He's scooping this pot.
Yeah, he has.
It comes ace king.
Opponents are drawing dead on the flop, which is pretty hard to do 3 ways.
Dead. Yep.
City Club.
So Manny will scoop this one, 750.
I'm not excited.
Gets a little rebate for when JWin rivered the flush versus his ace-10.
I already showed a count. Yeah. You spot called. You didn't go. You couldn't go on it.
So thanks again, everybody, for joining us. We have about exactly three hands left. We'll be finishing on hand 80, so around 10 o'clock.
So your move is all in.
Appreciate everybody that's hopped in the chat. Feel free to hop in again if you want to ask just James or I a question. I'm Kyle Whammo Frisbee.
Whammo, I've heard that before. That's how I've heard that before.
Yeah, it's so the Whammo company made the first plastic frisbees in the U.S.
Okay.
So I just thought it was a good alias probably for
Yeah,
poker. So
I
I
like
just have Whammo. If you see Whammo on the board in Poker Atlas, that's me.
Okay.
And yeah, my family actually started the frisbee, so I have one of the originals at my house.
Oh, really? I was going to
Yeah.
ask you if that was actually like a thing,
Yeah.
because I've never met anyone with the last name Frisbee.
Yeah, it's a little bit rare, somewhat. There's a few of us. So King Jack here for Manny. Looks like he's going to make the call after Barber raised King 3 suited.
Kevin with ace 9 here.
Does
End
have
of the
the
night,
button.
might want to get frisky. No.
Yeah, let's go.
JWin, I think, is going to get frisky.
JWin's going to get
Knowing
frisky
JWin.
here. This is a squeeze all day for JWin.
Yeah.
He didn't even have to think about it. I would have, we get our predictions wrong sometimes, but I would have put a lot of money on the squeeze right there from
JWin
JWin.
loves his suited aces, and for good reasons. They do make a lot of good hands. Barber, I feel like getting a little sticky too with King 3. End of the night.
Yeah, end of the night, he kind of was second best a lot early on, so maybe trying to pull a rabbit out of the hat at the end here.
He might. We'll see.
Yeah, pretty fair fight going to the flop.
And JWin just flops it.
Till JWin flops the stone cold nuts with the ace high flush.
Thank God Barber doesn't have King 3 of diamonds. Imagine.
Ooh, that would be ugly.
He definitely could have. What a dream spot for JWin. Really. Well, unfortunately, his opponent doesn't have anything. But.
Yeah. I agree with the bet there. I mean, you kind of, it would look pretty suspicious to squeeze and then check the flop. That looks so strong. I don't know what your thoughts are as far as leading out there.
So on monotone boards, you want to generally bet less frequently than you normally would. On average, solver bets around 43% of its range on monotone boards as the aggressor. With a nut flush, I'm personally putting money in, and I think you should be most of the time. Sometimes you can slow play it. And then all your middling flushes, you're going to just try to get money in. But it's a tough spot for people to balance because it's an uncomfortable spot for people because you don't play monotone boards that often, especially in 3-bet pots, heads up. So with the flush, I'm putting money in. But I'm going to do a lot of checking. I'm going to check a lot of my overpairs. I'm going to check even a hand like ace. Say I have aces with a diamond, aces. All my overpairs I'm checking. I might bet hands that are weaker pairs with a diamond and kind of start bluffing at them, trying to get someone with king 10 offsuit with no diamond to fold 2 streets, like a hand that's bad top pair or something, or jacks with no diamond to fold, hands like that.
So Jackson here is going to have a suited ace jack. JWin will bet his ace 8 on a king queen 3 board rainbow.
Jackson's hand I like calling. I also like raising. Check raising is good.
Over to Barber with 10-6. It looks like he already has folded his cards. Looks like the graphics may be a little behind here.
9 of clubs on the turn. So JWin, I think, makes it. Oh, doesn't make it. Jackson checks behind. I would have liked to have seen Jackson, I think, take a stab there. I think when your opponent checks, you got to start betting to win the pot. Your hand doesn't have a lot of equity if you're behind, so you need to bet. And you can still make the nuts on the river. So I think you should be betting.
Yeah, I think Jackson's probably about to bluff with the best hand here.
Which is fine. He should bluff with the best hand here.
Yeah.
he's not beating really anything except ace-10. He has a small amount of showdown against ace-10, but
Try to
I
get a 9 to fold.
yeah, I think JWin's supposed to bet ace-10 though on the turn, so
He checks
does
back.
check, and he will luckily win. Another way
Nice
of running
hand.
good, yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't get talked about, just winning in spots like that. Everyone likes to think of running good as making big hands, you know? But like, there's so much more to running good than just making big hands. It's about getting paid. When you have a bad hand, actually winning somehow. You shouldn't.
I totally agree.
That's what I'm asking. Like, what if he
You have 2 more hands.
Couple more to go. This will be our last no limit hold'em hand. As always, we'll finish with the bomb pot.
you weren't on the same page?
Hopefully we can see some fireworks here, last 2 hands. Unfortunately, no one's really getting anything. Doug's getting in there with the 6-5 offsuit.
JWin with ace-8 again, and the button. And he looks at his 9-10 and looks like he wants to fold it and does. And JWin gets the squeeze through. We'll win a small one. And we're on to our final hand, folks. We'll play a double board PLO bomb pot. Thanks everybody for joining us. I'm Kyle Whammo Frisbee here with Just James. James, it's been great having you in the booth.
Oh, thank you so much.
As a frequenter of a player on stream, I know many folks watching have seen you play. So really great to get your insight from this side of it.
Yeah, well, something that's interesting from commentating is that in the hand, my thoughts can go a lot faster than my ability to, I guess, like commentate and stream. And so, like, there's a lot more going on in my head. Trust me, I just can't get it all out. And but I definitely like being able to get it out somewhat and hopefully provide some type of value.
Absolutely.
To players at home.
So we've got hands loading here.
It's like no one really has anything. I like betting Doug's hand here. I like potting. He bet half pot, but I like potting here. You have a wrap with nut club blockers, and you have top pair on the bottom. Like it's a great hand to bet because if someone has Jack 7 or Jack 3, they have to fold because it's so wet, and you turn your hand into having the best hand on the bottom, and you can just blast off on a club. You can blast off on any card that makes your straight. It's just Doug's hand looks a lot better than the equity show, I think. I think it's a lot better. There's something in PLO called equity smoothness, and I don't know if you've heard that term before. The idea is that you want hands where you can continually bet. You want hands that will, quote unquote, realize their equity, that like will turn good turn cards. And so like Doug's hand has good equity smoothness. There's a lot of cards you can continue betting and putting money in, and he will get to realize all of his equity that way. Whereas a hand like, if you had just like a set of 7s, even though it's a strong hand, it doesn't have smoothness. There's a lot of bad turn cards that force you to fold later. So.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. Not a PLO. I actually won a PLO tournament here at TCH and don't consider myself a PLO player, but it was a smaller buy-in, but always happy to win. But
yeah,
I'll have to talk to you more about PLO.
Doug,
into the weeds.
Yeah, Doug has an interesting spot here. I think you just have to get this up. This is a spot where if I had like queen, queen, jack, I put the call in because I have a pair of queens to fall back on. If I have any pair with my jack, I actually have something to fall back because you have to play 2 in your hand, right? So, but unfortunately, if like Barber has 8s full here, he can't see, but Barber can have just like a jack and a king here, and like you're in rough spot shape for. Yeah, it's a tough spot.
Well, nice win for Barber. Final hand of the night. Good fold by Doug. So we'll sign off for now. This has been TCH Live Austin. I'm Kyle Frisbee. He's been Just James.